Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 111 of the It's Obvious podcast. My name's Garrett Drake, and I'm joined across the table by Jacob Alka.
How you doing, man?
Jacob, I'm quite well. We have spent every waking moment of this weekend together. How do you feel about it?
I'm definitely not mad about it.
Okay, that makes two of us, because I've just enjoyed gazing upon your shirtless body, swimming in a lake, wiping out on a tube, eating hot dogs, eating French toast this morning.
Yes.
Many things happened this weekend, Jacob. Why don't you bring us up to speed? What did we do together?
We went, I guess it was like a little weekend retreat with, we basically reunited with a bunch of guys that we grew up with and went to high school with.
A bunch of guys that we used to date.
Yeah. We have like our guys that we've dated.
Jacob,
all in one place.
I have the squeaky chair this week.
I'm sorry.
Dang it.
I thought when I brought it in, it didn't sound squeaky.
Well, what's funny is I had the loose chair. You brought in the loose chair, and that one's going to break any day now. And this chair is the squeaky one.
You should do the loose chair.
I know, I goofed.
Just don't be wiggling around.
I goofed, but yeah, you're right. We reunited with our best friends in the world, or most of them. Some of them couldn't make it, unfortunately, but the majority of them were there. At Zach Bynum, who has been on this podcast a handful of times, his parents own a lake house literally in the middle of nowhere in Georgia. And I didn't really believe them when they said, yeah, we live in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, well, nowhere is always somewhere, especially in Georgia. Well, kid you not, man, you get off the highway, 30 miles into the wilderness, there's nothingness. I had no service all weekend. I didn't have a single bar. I couldn't even get on Instagram and load a picture. And when I say load, I don't mean like, oh, I want to upload a picture to Instagram. I literally would pull up Instagram and the pictures would not even load. It was just a white screen.
So yeah, that doesn't surprise me with Sprint because it barely works in civilization.
Yeah. It was literally one moment I had full bars and the next moment just gone. I didn't have. I think it was extended times one the entire weekend, so nothing worked. I would get a text message like 8 hours late. So in a lot of ways, it was an escape more than it was a retreat because we escaped the masses here where we live in this part of Georgia and got away from my phone for a while because I had no use for it because it didn't even work. So we just enjoyed the lake and our time with best friends. It was good.
Got on a boat, went tubing.
We did.
We just basically hung out.
I hadn't been tubing in a long time. And,
me either.
It was fun. Yeah, Zach and I only tubed. I know a couple of the guys went out a couple times on the boat, but I went out once with Zach and wiped out a few times. Some great wipeouts in there too, but we held on. It was exciting. You got to have some serious balance on a tube to be successful, especially when you make those sharp turns. It's awesome. But yeah, we just hung out on the lake. We played a lot of FIFA. Me and Zach played a little Halo 3 a couple nights ago. And that was great. It was the first night we were there. He and I played 2 matches. The first match we played on Snowbound and wiped the floor with the team we played. And then we played on Last Resort and were massacred. Just absolutely slaughtered. That's actually the worst Halo 3 match both of us had ever played. I had 5 kills. He had 2. Wow. That's how bad we were. I don't know what happened. We must have been playing some MLG team or something because they were unreal how good they were. It was disastrous, but it was fun because he and I used to play hours and hours of Halo 3.
I don't remember you playing Halo at all.
No, you weren't in the room at the time.
I don't know what I was doing.
I have no idea where you were at, but it was fun.
Yeah.
So overall, it was just fun reuniting with friends, and woke up this morning and came back and went to T-Bell. I guess we can talk about our Taco Talk now, our newest segment. I kind of want to edit in the Taco Bell sound effect every time we talk about this. It seems suitable. Okay. I don't know if that bell's copyrighted or not.
I'm sure
before I continue, I forgot to mention that Jacob and I got pretty terribly sunburned. Not terribly, but my knees, man. It's like I put sunscreen on my entire body except my knees. Yeah. And I've never had my knees so sunburned in my life. They are killing me as we speak. My knees are on fire.
Well, you're wearing pants, aren't you?
I am.
That's a bad idea.
Right. I mean, they even hurt with shorts on. I had shorts on the whole way home and they were still hurting. So
maybe you're just a baby.
Yeah, I could be. Yeah. I mean, I'm not to the point where I want to cry about it, but I definitely prefer to not be sunburned.
This is a safe space.
It is. Yeah. Just the two of us in this room and considerable amount of people listening from across the world. So I'm sure everyone would be understandable if I cried about sunburn. I'll never be burned as bad as I was when I told you I was on that acne medicine and I had the triangle Illuminati purple sunburn. It was awful. But other than that, we came back with some new scars. So we're good to go from here. For sure. Great, though. I miss all those guys terribly. I wish we could hang out more. Yeah. So got to cherish those moments as we grow older.
Indeed.
It's very, very sad.
Yes, it was.
But anyway, Taco Talk. You did not have Taco Bell today. I did. You rode with me to Taco Bell, which is very courteous of you. Because I was craving it. I was starving. And
can't say I was thrilled about it, but here we are.
Yeah. I had my traditional steak quesadilla minus the creamy jalapeno. Just wonderful. The fiery cheesy gordita crunch, the beefy nacho griller, and lastly a cheesy roll-up. Washed it down with a Baja Blast freeze, and I got some cinnamon twist for the road. I am overstuffed, Jacob. I'm about to burst at the seams, but every bite was savory, delicious, and flawless, despite the exponentially slow pace of the people who are employed there. I mean, it would blow your mind. Fast food, typically means fast food, but it's like sitting down at a restaurant, placing your order, and waiting for 20 minutes till it comes. But it's always worth the wait, because despite how slow they are, every bite is worth every penny and every moment I wait for it. So can't complain.
I'm glad you feel that way.
It was phenomenal. It was everything I could have ever hoped for on a Sunday afternoon having Taco Bell. So
thank you so much for sharing your food.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it's the very least I can do. I just appreciate you tagging along, because I was going to not go because you told me you didn't want to go. I was like, hey, we haven't seen all the trailers from Comic-Con yet. We can watch those while we go and eat Taco Bell.
All right, fine, whatever. I know he wants me to go.
Yeah, so I appreciate that, Jake. It was quite the sacrifice on your end.
Mm-hmm. So I watched an episode of The Office while I ate my chicken pasta dinner or lunch.
Okay, which episode did you watch?
It was the one. I'm in season 2. I'm rewatching the whole series.
Okay, how many
even though
times
it's
have you
not
rewatched
leaving Netflix.
It is not.
I don't know. I saw a news story.
Whoever started that prank was good, because the whole world believed it briefly.
Yeah, so now I gotta keep watching it now. I've already started.
Yeah.
But the episode I watched was when Jan and Michael go out to make a sale. Mm-hmm. They go to Chili's.
Yeah.
And they have to, Michael's not supposed to say a word, but, he eventually starts talking because it's Michael.
Yeah.
And he always has to say something. He has to be the center of the tension. Mm-hmm. And toss these over here.
It's okay. Were they distracting you, your keys?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
But because of Michael, they actually make the sale. So it wasn't because of Jan, which was the plan, But at the end of the episode, things happen, which Jan probably regrets. But
yeah, that's a great
just in case no one's seen The Office, I don't want to spoil it. I know most people have, but
no. The most recent episode I watched was when Michael's nephew comes in, and they treat him as an intern, and he's just the biggest douchebag the entire time, and he spanks him at the end. He's like, "Fuck this," and leaves. That is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I think his name's Evan Peters from American Horror Story and X-Men.
Okay,
so funny. That show's a classic.
That'd be pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, it was heart-wrenching when that prank came around saying it was going to leave Netflix. That was bad news, but I'm glad it wasn't true. So all is right in the world. As long as The Office stays on Netflix, we'll have a world where we don't all kill each other. I think that's what keeps everyone sane, is The Office being on Netflix.
Very true.
So, what games did you play this week, Jacob?
I played the Destiny 2 beta. That was this week, which is our main topic, actually.
It is.
So I will save my thoughts for that when we start that. I also played a little more Zelda. I've kind of taken a step back this week because of the Destiny 2 beta. I played a little bit on our journey to the middle of nowhere this weekend.
Yeah. How'd that go?
I beat the Fireblight Ganon.
You did. I remember in the car ride there, you were fighting him.
Yeah, it was fun. So he had some new mechanics. I really enjoyed learning those, and the real challenge for me during that fight was I didn't have any weapons. Like all my weapons most of them are wood based, so I couldn't use them because they would just catch on fire and erode away. Mm-hmm. But I had a couple weapons that I used the trident from the first Guardian that I got from the what are they? Just fish people.
The Zora.
The Zora.
Fish people.
That actually came in handy using that trident. And I just enjoyed the fight. It was cool. And
that was probably my favorite Guardian boss battle. Was Fireblight.
Gotcha.
So
that was probably my favorite. I've only faced 2 Guardians, but the Salamander Guardian was cool. I liked the setting on the volcano and just the puzzles within.
Yeah.
Then I think this was the next morning when me and you were playing together on the couch, but I found the Master Sword.
You did, yeah, that's right.
You helped me a little bit with getting through the forest, but once I found the way to go, I knew where I was going. Just I could just tell by the path that it was leading me on that it was going to be something cool. And I had heard that the sword was in the forest. Yeah, so it was cool finding that. Can't pull it out yet. Don't have enough hearts.
Right.
I don't know how many I need. I don't really want to know. I just want to.
Okay. Kind of. I could tell you.
Is it a lot of hearts?
It's not a ton, but it's definitely.
Because I already have I think I have 8 or something.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're more than halfway there.
Okay. But yeah, I played Zelda this week. That's about all I have to say about that. Let me
You and I
think.
played some Mario Kart on the couch
Yeah, we
together.
played a little Mario Kart. You beat me again like always. I beat you one time.
You did, yeah. I didn't know that this was a thing. Maybe I'm just a fool, but I had no idea that you could sit next to someone with both. If you both have a Switch, you can just find each other locally just by sitting next to each other without Wi-Fi or anything.
Some kind of Bluetooth technology.
That blew my mind, and it was we had zero connection problems, and we raced a whole Grand Prix in the middle of nowhere, and it was awesome. Yeah. God bless Nintendo, man.
It really makes that commercial make more sense when like people are in the park and they're playing together. Like, how can you do that without Wi-Fi? But then you think the local player.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing, and it's changed my life.
I don't know if that works for all the other multiplayer Switch games, but I know for a fact Mario Kart's like that. So
yeah, is that all you played this week?
I mean, I played FIFA over the weekend, but
that's always a good time.
Yeah, I think that's it though.
Nice.
I mostly just played Destiny 2, which was really fun. What about you?
In addition to Destiny 2, I played Fortnite through the early access that a lot of people took advantage of. It was awesome. I really, really enjoy the game. I didn't get to play it a whole lot, unfortunately, because obviously we went out of town. But I really enjoy the fact that it's sort of a cross between... I've heard a lot of people make different comparisons, but it's sort of like...
I've heard Diablo thrown in.
Yeah, Diablo, as far as like the loot's concerned, sort of.
So there's loot in the game?
A lot of loot. Yeah, there's so much. It's ridiculous. Ton of loot, different character classes, and all of them have subclasses within each class. It's sort of like a tower defense meets wave-based game where all these monsters come out of the storm. So that's all you do
is just defend your tower?
Yeah, different objectives, though. There's different missions where, for example, the one mission we did, there was this Atlas piece of gear. We had to go into this town and locate it and then bring it back to this soccer field and then build a fortress around it to protect it. And all these waves of zombies, not really zombies, but these monsters come out in different classes of monsters and you have to fight them off. And all these different kinds of weapons that are all loot-based. There's pistols and machine guns, rocket launchers, snipers, and everything. And all your characters have different special abilities and unique perks about them that help in the tower defense, so to speak. And it's cool because you can start out with, like, you have a main home base, and then you go out into the world and do all these other different objectives, and you always have to come back and defend your home base. But they show when you do the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm so out of it, Jacob. We haven't slept at all this weekend. The tutorial segment of the game at the beginning, it shows you can start out with like a little wooden fortress, but it can eventually become this giant castle with turrets on the walls and sniper towers, sniper towers, and all these different levels to go up to and everything. It looks really exciting, but it's all about just sort of a Minecraft scenario where you collect all these materials throughout the world to use them to create your fortress. So very unique art style too. I mean, I kind of describe it as a Pixar style, but very cartoony and fun, very colorful, and the gameplay is a blast, especially playing with co-op. I played with Kyle and his buddy Perry, and we did a few missions together, and I really enjoyed myself.
Okay.
So
nice.
Yeah, I will probably pick that up just because I'm curious as to what else it could be. I mean, I'll wait for obviously a full review, but I had a lot of fun with early access, so I look forward to that game coming out.
So when does it come out?
I'm mistaken because I'm so I should just research and look for myself. The people who gave me the code said 2018, but then I've heard someone else say, "Oh, this comes out in a few weeks." I think it's one of those games that comes out and they're just going to update it over time. I think
like PlayerUnknown,
sort of like that. I think that's the scenario. I mean, I haven't researched it myself because I've had zero time, and the internet was non-existent where we were all weekend. So I have no idea, but I think it launches soon and it'll be updated over time. If I'm not mistaken. Is that what you're trying to look up right now?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have nothing else to say, Jake, because I didn't play anything else, but it was a great weekend, and I'm glad to be here with you.
Nice.
Do you want to just talk about Destiny 2?
It's just giving me the early access release date. So, whatever. Let's talk about Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Oh, my goodness. Lord knows what that sounds like on the recording. Maybe an earthquake. So tell me, Jacob, how do you feel about Destiny 2?
Well, where do you want to start?
You tell me. You're the one who has the heart for it more than I do.
Well, obviously we didn't get very much in the beta.
We did not.
We got one story mission, one strike,
two multiplayer
modes, and
the farm.
And the farm
briefly.
On Sunday. Yeah. Which somehow we got home in time for me to jump in and just explore it a little bit.
Why don't you start with that since it's the freshest?
Okay. It's the new social space. The tower is destroyed, as we saw from the beta mission. Whether or not we eventually reclaim it is, I don't know. But it would be a cool redemption story, like if we reclaim the tower, or maybe in a DLC at the very least. But
I'd like to see us create a new tower.
Yeah. I mean, there was that PvP map on one of the towers. It's not the one that we were at in Destiny 1, but it was just a different one. Did you ever play that map? It was, they showed it a lot when they were showing off the what's that mode with the ball or the orb?
I have no clue.
It was the capture the flag mode.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either. I haven't played Destiny 1 in so long.
No, I have no idea.
I don't know where I was going with that.
The farm.
I was just talking about a tower, but the farm's cool. It's very pretty. It's cool because like in the background you can see a piece of the Traveler that's fallen off, and it's giving off like a cool little glow.
Mm-hmm. A little reminder as to what you're fighting for.
Right. Yeah. There were no vendors at the farm. It was literally just the space.
Because it's the beta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume so. They don't want people focusing on that. Basically, they opened it up so they could stress their servers, I guess, for the amount of people that could be on it. It was fun just to look around, I guess, but it wasn't like insanely exciting. It was just cool to check out where we're going to be hanging out for probably most of the time in Destiny 2.
For sure.
Yeah, that's all I got for that. We're going to have a video.
Yeah, you recorded a bit, and we'll do some video and just kind of talk about it. Yeah. You said there's a soccer field there too, isn't there? Yeah,
towards the back there's 2 goals, and then there's like, that purple ball at the tower?
Yes.
It's basically that, but it's colored as a soccer ball.
Nice.
So you just, you walk into it, it shoots off.
Okay.
I mean, it's fun, I guess.
Yeah.
It's nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Story mission was cool. How do you feel about the story mission? Did you enjoy it?
I think it's an excellent taste as to what's going to come.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely, I think, the most exciting story mission I've played in any Destiny content thus far, with the exception of the cool stuff we got in Taken King and everything. But this is definitely awesome. I love the cutscenes are great. The villains very intimidating.
We saw some new cutscenes.
Mm-hmm.
We actually saw the end of the mission.
Yeah, they're doing a great job already of fleshing out the characters from the previous game that we really didn't get to know that well. I mean, everyone had an idea as to what they were like, but based on the trailers we've gotten for Destiny 2 and leading into this mission, it's a really cool idea as to how these characters are going to be interacting with either the story missions or within gameplay itself, which is cool.
Yeah.
My favorite aspect isn't even really about the way it looks or anything. I just like the way it plays, mostly just like the Cabal, for example, this elite faction. I've already forgotten the name of this elite faction. Red Legion, that's what it is. Thank you, Jacob. The Cabal, like I said, I think when we were doing the Inverted Spire Strike and the Let's Play, they were always my favorite enemy to fight in Destiny 1 just because they're so huge, and I like popping their heads, and when they explode, it's just satisfying. So they're a lot of fun to fight. I love the dynamic between all the different versions of this faction of the Cabal.
There's lots of Cabal this time around.
The Phalanx ones are mostly the same. I just think it's hilarious how you can shoot that thing in their shield and it shuts down.
Yeah.
I mean, I realize in gameplay it makes sense because that gives you a really specific small target to shoot at. It's fun to shoot at it. When you really think about it in like the lore and the design, I'm like, that's so funny that this enemy's like, we're going to make a shield you can shoot the hole and it'll blow up. But I enjoy shooting at it because it's fun.
Mechanic.
It is, yeah. So those guys are cool. And then those melee Cabal with the
swords,
those blades, man, they are deadly. They'll kill you in 2 or 3 hits if you let them.
Do you think there's going to be a raid boss in Destiny 2 that is one of those dogs, but it's big?
Maybe.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That'd be kind of cool.
I don't know how the mechanics would work around that, because if you picture like a dog that is crazy, they would just run over and
run around and try to bite you.
I don't know how you can make mechanics around it, but I don't know. I think it's
maybe
cool
they'll
idea.
have guns attached to its head or something.
Yeah, maybe it's modified.
But yeah, the Cabal hounds. I don't know, what are they called again?
I don't know.
I can't remember, but they're a lot of fun to fight. They make things interesting when not only there are Cabal surrounding you, shooting at you, but the dogs are kind of like
and that strike
a vortex
when you drop down
you.
to that, or that. I don't know if you drop down to it, but it's that place where there's that thing in the center, but you're in that ring.
Yeah.
No, there's like 20 dogs that come and attack you.
Yeah, they're fun to fight. So all the different versions of the Cabal are cool, and just the narrative around them is exciting as well. The elite. That's why we didn't see them in Destiny 1. This is the elite faction. They're sick of everyone's shit. They're going to come steal the tower. And they did so very quickly. And that bastard, remind me of the villain's name? Gaul.
Dominus Gaul.
Oh, that's right. I remember in the trailer they were making fun of his name. Or
Gary.
K6 was. Yeah, Gary. Yeah, Gary kicked us off the tower, that son of a bitch.
I mean, his ship.
How dare he?
You're on Gaul's ship.
Where are we? Oh, yeah, that's right. We launched up into his ship and he kicked us off. So we've lost the tower. That guy's clearly an asshole.
Yep. Now we have a lot to fight for. We got to reclaim our light now.
Oh, we certainly will, Jacob. I imagine we will. But if that's just a taste of what's to come in the campaign, I'm very excited. And I'm hoping, a lot of people are speculating, I'm not the first to think this, but I'm hoping there's some really major reveals in the campaign that will blow our minds. And if not blow our minds, just be really exciting to experience. So I like how they kept this beta really tight knit. I mean, I realize at the end of the day, a beta is purely to stress the servers, to test the gameplay, to see what they need to fix and what works.
It's about excitement too.
Exactly, but yeah, it builds some hype and it also helps them work out the kinks of the game prior to launch. So as far as a beta is concerned, I thought for me it was the perfect amount. Got a taste of the campaign. I'm more of a PvP guy anyway, so I enjoyed the two modes.
Plenty of PvP too,
especially Countdown, which we're going in depth about soon. But
I'll never forget calling out rugs in Market.
Yeah. So I look forward to playing that mode on various maps. That'll be fun. But and lastly, the inverted spire strike was pretty cool. Pretty much a standard strike for the most part. I know we'd seen it in the initial reveal, but I guess the dynamic part of it is those giant blades that spin. That's an interesting portion of that strike that makes things different.
I enjoyed the boss fight too, how there were different phases and the platforms disappeared beneath you and you drop down. Yeah,
that was a fun one. It did feel very much like a huge boss fight. For sure. I mean, most of the other strikes did too. Like even what's that moon boss we fought? The big ogre. We did that strike a million times.
Fogoth.
Yeah, Fogoth.
That's called, I don't know.
Yeah, overall, I mean, it felt like a standard Destiny strike with just that cool part that you interact with the environment a bit more.
And of course, there's no real reason to keep playing it because there's what you get.
You just get the same drops the entire beta, which is fine.
There's a limited loot table in the beta, so it's basically like one weapon per archetype. So you
played as a Titan, correct?
I played as all three classes.
Okay.
I gave them all a little taste.
Yeah, see, for some reason, I've never felt compelled to ever give any other class a taste.
You should. Because you might be missing out on something that you really like.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I can see it all on YouTube. I've already made my decision. I will literally never play anything but a hunter. So not that I'm like...
Classes do some
not
really
that,
cool
not that
things.
I'm racist against the Titan or the Warlock, but...
do you just not feel like you have the time to... play all the classes?
Time is one thing, but I'm just satisfied with the hunter. I mean, the abilities of the Warlock and Titan, I think, are way cooler than the hunter.
The Warlock's jump is so stupid. You're just like,
it just floats up. It's useless.
It's dumb.
It is. That's I told you that originally why I chose a hunter over everything else in Destiny 1. It wasn't the look. It wasn't the abilities. It was purely because they have a double jump, and I'm all about mobility in shooters. And triple jump. I never really liked triple jump. I like having that one leap and the one really big leap after it.
See, I like the one that's directional control, where you jump once and you can jump to the side or wherever you want to go easily.
Yeah, that was always my favorite jump, but that's purely why in multiplayer, aside from the abilities that I think the Titan and Warlock provide to the team, which are significant, the Hunter is purely combat-based and speed, and that's why I've liked the Hunter so much. But, yeah, I played as Hunter. How'd you feel about all the classes overall? Like, which one? Do you think you're going to stick with Titan?
For my first character, yeah. I really enjoyed the new Defender subclass. Both that and Striker seem really strong, but Gunslinger probably seemed the most powerful in PvP. That's not just me saying it, but a lot of...
Are you talking about with Hunter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just subclasses in general. It feels very strong because, I don't know. The other ones you have to close in on your enemy, I guess, and this one you just shoot.
Right. I actually think it's, or at least in my experience, it's a pretty good change to...
I mean, you have less time to use it, I'm pretty sure. I never tried the Gunslinger. I just did the Arc Strider.
Okay, there were countless times where I literally got maybe 1 or 2 kills. I never got more.
But you can shoot more, but you also have less time.
Exactly.
To use it.
So, I mean, if you're lucky enough to run into a whole team, you can just... If they don't kill you in time, you can knock them all out really quickly. Yeah. But it is such a short amount of time that every time I used it, I only got 1 or 2 kills because it would just drain so quickly.
Yeah.
So I think it's a pretty good change. It isn't really that much of a difference at the end of the day, because even with the original Golden Gun, unless you have that perk attached where it can shoot through multiple people at once, you're only going to kill 3 people max.
Yeah. Or you could. There was a helmet that you could put on to get 4, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had that. It's like the one that had like the infection on it or whatever. I always use that in PvP in Destiny 1, but in this one you could arguably get 6 kills if you're lucky enough to run. I mean, granted, the teams only have 4 people on them, so what's the point of the other? I guess if you miss a couple shots, you have 2 more, but it isn't that much.
How do you feel
difference.
about that change? Only 4v4 modes.
I like it a lot. I think it works for Destiny really well because it isn't a super fast-paced game, but it also isn't slow. This one definitely feels a little faster. I mean, I was talking a little bit of crap about it when we first started because I was sucking, but I got the feel for it after a while.
I feel like it's much less overwhelming, which, like, if you put 6 people against 6 people, like, people are, like, attacking you from everywhere. It's kind of like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like, of course you die less quickly in Destiny than you do in Call of Duty, but still it can be overwhelming sometimes.
So let's talk about control, since that was an original mode in Destiny 1. How do you feel that compares from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2? What do you like about the
coolest
changes?
change that I like is that the flags where you spawn are already capped. So everyone can just go straight for B, which is cool because it promotes more team fighting to start the game at the very least.
Right.
Which I kind of like in the new Crucible that we played so far. Like, the fights are much more about, everyone's shooting at the same time. Not just, I'm going to go take on this guy 1v1 because more than likely you'll lose because they'll have help from a teammate. But yeah, I enjoyed Control. It's not a whole lot of changes. You only need one person to cap a flag now. Yeah. It doesn't matter how many people are on it. It's still the same.
I like that because while one person's capturing, everyone else should be either defending said person or moving on to the next one. So I like that a lot.
Yes, indeed.
And I like the fact that it's 4-4 too, because I like tight-knit teams like that because communication's a bit easier as well, especially if you're playing with all people you know. And even on those maps, if they're the appropriate size, 4v4 can feel like all-out war. Like Control felt like chaos when we played, and there's only 4 people on each team. So
yeah, I mean, we only had the one map.
Right. But so I'm sure map sizes will vary a bit. I remember one of those maps, when I think it was previously 6-on-6 or 8-on-8? 6. Okay, so I remember that one desert map on Mars with the giant pathway in the middle, playing Control on that map. That map was massive. It felt like it was big enough for you could ride your Sparrow around. I forgot about that.
There were tanks.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, but
that's how First Light was on the moon too.
I always loved that map, mostly because it was the first map I played in the Destiny 1 beta.
Yeah,
so it was one of my favorites. I just loved the design of it.
They only made like one other big map after that because people didn't like them.
Yeah,
they were too big. Like the problem was that you would never get to the score limit before the game ended. So I feel like the game should always end before the time runs out.
Yeah, unless they had like a big team battle mode like they would in Halo. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah,
we'll see if they have that.
Well, sometimes they had playlists where there were 3 of those big maps, and it would just be rotating between those. It'd be like a weekly playlist.
Yeah,
but you know, I kind of like how big the maps are, or how they were in the beta. So
yeah, they work for me.
Whether or not they make bigger ones is anyone's guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I hate to break up the conversation here, Jacob, but I've got to edit out this error, so we're going to take a 5-second pause.
Okay.
Starting now. Okay, we're back. So, how'd you feel about Control, Jacob? Because I got to say that is my favorite mode I've ever played in Destiny.
Really? Even in Destiny 1?
Yes, only because I love competitive game modes like that. Having only one life not only ups the stakes, but kind of in a way stresses you out a bit, especially if it's a really close match. You really never know who's going to win. So I like the fact that you have to be very careful about where you go and who you're with and when you decide to either attack or defend certain spots.
Yeah. See, I really liked the new countdown mode.
As did I.
It promotes, like, if you're with a party, it's really fun because you can, communicate, us two are going to go Rugs. The other 2 of us are going to go Market, or maybe you all go at one place. I don't know. But it just, and I like the call outs where there's different locations that actually have a name. So, you can communicate where people are or where you're going and stuff like that.
It definitely feels more like a traditional competitive shooter in that sense. Very, very Halo-like, I felt too. Especially now that they've made the change to having power weapons be snipers, shotguns, rocket launchers, and even grenade launchers. That is by far, I know a lot of people have been saying like, oh, this is just Destiny 1.5. In a lot of ways it is, but that's a profound change. The fact that they've moved all of those weapons to the power slot. I love that because I know I keep making the Halo comparison, but that's very Halo-like where every time, I mean, this is not like Halo in this sense, but in Halo, for example, the whole point of every multiplayer match is get to the power weapon before the other team because that's what will give you the advantage. And in that sense, it's a lot like this in this game because the power ammo is very few and far between every match, and only one player on each team can get it. So whether that's rocket, shotgun, or sniper, it feels totally different. I love the focus on primary and secondary weapons because that's always been the core gameplay. And any shooter for me is having everyone just shoot back and forth with rifles or pistols or whatever it might be.
See, I love it for PvP. I feel like in PvE though, it might not work out well because all you can shoot your bosses with are your auto rifles or whatever.
Right.
And that will take longer, I feel like, to
I think
things.
that
like using a sniper in PvE, like when you're trying to take down a boss from behind cover, like that was fun, I feel like. And if you're you're hardly getting any power ammo, like I don't know. Is it going to be boring just using your primaries all the time? Is my question.
I don't think it will be because not only can you switch them at will, but you can have that full load. You can carry like how many weapons? Like 6 or 8 weapons at a time. Is it 6? Maybe it's more. I think it's more than that. I'm talking about like
inventory.
For example, in your primary slot, you can carry like 8 weapons or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's 9.
Yeah, same with
10 counting the one you have equipped.
Same with your secondary. So you can mix and match all you want. And I think in the campaign, I imagine there will be regular drops of power ammo, and it makes it more interesting. So let's say. And more strategic. I like the sense that not all of us can go in, we all have a sniper, we all have a rocket launcher. You really have to coordinate with your fire team. You're going to have the sniper, I'll have the rockets, I'll have the shotgun. And you all decide who's going to do what as far as your strategy goes. So I think that makes it more interesting, personally. Instead of all of you being these powerhouse soldiers with all these weapons, it makes it definitely probably more challenging. But I like that change. I think it's awesome, especially in multiplayer. I'm a big fan of that. So that's probably my favorite addition to Destiny 2 that I've experienced thus far. That and the countdown mode, the cinematic style of the campaign, and the strike was probably the least. I can't even speak, Jacob. I probably had the least amount of changes as far as
I like the strikes in Destiny though. Like they're a cool way to. They're like dungeons in World of Warcraft. Like they're a gateway from finishing the story to progressing to the raid. It's I don't know. I like the replayable content like that when you're working with other people. And when it's like there's like nightfall events and stuff too. It's different every week and gives you additional goodies and everything. I do find it odd that they kept like the strike teams as 3. So we got 3 for strikes, 4 for multiplayer, 6 for a raid. It seems all over the place. It does kind of seem all over the place. Have they addressed whether or not they're going to do lobbies and stuff for? Oh no, they're going to have like a special in-game type thing where you can team up with people for raids, aren't they? Didn't they mention something? Yeah, like you mean the I forgot what it's called, but clans can invite like single players into. Right. I don't know if you invite them into your clan, but you can carry them through a raid. So there's like a list now where you can just go and find like if you don't have anyone to raid with, you can look up you can find a group that will take you through. Okay, yeah, because I remember them mentioning something like that, which is good. Which is really cool because people will be able to experience all the content if they want to. For sure. Yeah, how'd you feel about, I mean, it was very minimal, but how'd you feel about some of the design of the armors we were picking up in the beta? Yeah, it was fine. I mean, it's about what I expect from Destiny. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see like all the cool raid gear and stuff once we get to that point with the full game. How'd you feel about all the exotics? The 3 that we saw were cool. They were all very unique, especially the Titan Gatling gun. That thing cool. Slaughtered me online, dude. If you're up close and someone pulls that out, you're gone. Trick is to pre-fire before you get poke yourself out and have it constantly spinning and then just start shooting when you come around the corner. Yeah. You just melt people. Yeah, up close, whenever I saw a Titan, they'd whip that thing out. I knew I was gone. It was over. There was just no chance. Yeah. The pulse rifle seemed very powerful in PvP. I love the pulse rifle. I don't know if that's going to stay. Fusion rifles were really good. I don't know if you tried a fusion rifle. I did not actually. But they seem to have quite a lot of range, and they just kill you in one hit. Nice. So yeah, I heard a lot of people talking about how powerful they were, but I didn't try one for myself. I just think fusion rifles are boring. I realize how good they are, but I'd rather shoot. See, I use them more the more I play Destiny, and they're fun to use. They're definitely one of the more unique weapons. They were pretty deadly in Destiny 1 for a little while, unless they patched them. Depending which one you had, like a lot of the exotic ones were cool. But you and I were talking about the fact that I keep saying the fact, this has been too long of a weekend, Jacob hardly slept. All those weapons being power weapons now, like you said, solves their balance issue. Because now that they're all power weapons, they're meant to be slightly overpowered, and they don't have to. Literally, Destiny 1, all they did was constantly update the balance between the weapons, and they never nailed it. There's just always something off. So now I think, like you mentioned, it would be much easier balancing all those weapons going forward, because 99, not 99, but like 90% of the time you'll be using your primary weapons. So that's a great benefit, I think, of having that. Okay. Let's do one last thing. Okay. How did you feel about the supers? Like, because in PvP, I feel like you only got it once, maybe twice if you're having an insane game. But sometimes I wouldn't even get my super in a match. So, like if I wasn't doing well. I always got my super, but I also like that the supers are few and far between. Yeah, so you like that change? You like that? I do, because much more focused on the primary gunfights. Again, it just adds more. It's more competitive that way because you really have to be careful about when you use it. Like all of you could blow your supers at once and it not work in your benefit, and then you could really coordinate. I'm going to use mine now. I mean, the same thing in Destiny 1. You can choose who's going to use their supers when, but the fact that they take so much longer to charge. That goes with all the abilities, like grenade and melee charge. Yeah, how'd you feel about that? They're all very slow. It feels like. I think it's better that the grenades are slower, even though I'm not trying to compare Destiny to Halo too much, but in Halo you can constantly throw grenades. Call of Duty you can constantly throw grenades. I think it's cool that it is purely primary firefights for the majority of the time. And I like that you have to really choose carefully again when to throw your grenade, because it's going to take a while to recharge. See, again, I like it for PvP. I don't know if I like it for PvE. Like I like throwing grenades. I like, using my melee charge to one hit a minion or an enemy. I like using my super against, NPCs. It's fun to just wreak havoc and kill tons of things. I think the perks between each class will alter that a bit, like they did in the original. Like your grenade will recharge faster. It's also worth keeping in mind we only had like half the subclass unlocked. So there's still plenty to see. Yeah.
But as far as the super is concerned, I didn't talk about Arc Blade. Arc Blade's super
Arc
deadly.
Strider.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Arc Blade was the original, right?
Or Pole Dancer, as some people call it.
Pole Dancer, yeah. That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
But
I think it's the coolest looking one, but I feel like it's not very good. Because in Blade Dancer and Destiny 1, you can move very quickly. Like, you just kept meleeing, you could zip all over the place. But this one, you like swing, then you pause for a second, then you swing again. So
I think it's funny because I've always been a Golden Gun guy, but in a lot of ways I found it to be more beneficial than Golden Gun, because even if all the people are spread out, it lasts long enough for you to go find them and hopefully kill them. Whereas Golden Gun's over in a split second.
Right.
But this one, there's a couple times where I'd kill a guy and just run down a hall or wherever and then find another one. I'm like, oh, I got him too. And then maybe I'd get through 3 out of the 4, but I didn't use it but a couple of times because I just prefer Golden Gun. But now that I reflect on it, I think it might be more effective than Golden Gun in that sense, because the teams are so small and it lasts longer. So they might balance that. I don't know. But I didn't use the other supers. You got to use all of them, correct? Which one was your favorite, you think?
I didn't try Golden Gun or Voidwalker for the Warlock.
Okay, is that the one where he lifts up in the sky and shoots fireballs? Is that a different one?
No.
What is that? A fire super? It's the one from the trailer where he.
Oh, that's Dawnblade.
Yeah, where he flies up in the air.
You throw the swords.
Okay, yeah. Did you try that?
Yeah.
How was that?
Well, I didn't try it. I tried it in PvP once, but the Dawnblade's fun. I feel like it's very aggressive. You can be very aggressive with it. Obviously.
It looks pretty badass.
Yeah, and it's just fun, like hurling flame swords from afar. There's not much really you can do about it. But I'd probably say my favorite one that I played was the Defender Titan, just because how versatile it is. You can pop the old World of Dawn by holding the super buttons. You can just press them to bring out your shield. You can block bullets with the shield. You can throw the shield once.
A very dynamic super.
Yeah, and you can just swipe around, kind of like the Arc Strider. You just it's kind of like the shoulder charge for a Titan, but you're just, you're throwing your shield with your fist at people.
Yes.
Which is cool.
Clearly inspired by Captain America, because he does all of those things with his shield.
Pretty much. And I also like the new Striker subclass, how it's more than one ground pound. Or you can also, kind of like the Defender subclass, you can just melee into people and kill people.
For sure. I died several times like that.
Yeah.
So, Titans and I don't get along in PvP. They kill me the most.
Gotcha. Yeah,
mostly with their supers.
Right. I like how they redid like the original 3 subclasses and made them a little more different or unique. I don't know how I feel about the slow moving Nova Bomb. Like, if I ever play a Warlock, will I ever use that? Because it seems like it might not catch up to someone that moves so slow.
Perhaps,
but it tracks. So we'll see.
I don't think there's any changes that have been made that I dislike about Destiny 2. Do you think there's enough changes to satisfy not only you, but the majority of players going into Destiny 2? I think so,
but I don't know. Like, I mean, we only got a small taste, obviously, but I think all the subclasses all seem fresh enough for a sequel. So, and if there's not going to be a third one at launch, there will definitely be a third subclass next year at the same time.
Probably.
When they probably do another big DLC like they did for Taken King. So, we will see.
I think we've covered all of our bases.
Yeah, pretty much. There wasn't a whole lot to discuss, but I feel like we discussed it pretty well for what it was.
Yeah, we did have a lot of fun with it, though. I had more fun than I was expecting to have with it. Now, I'm not head over heels excited for Destiny 2, but I'm definitely going to play it, especially after experiencing the beta. So.
I might take off the half week when it comes out.
Wow.
I just want to play it.
You're going to play on PC and PS4, correct?
Yeah, but PC will be launching in October.
Okay.
So.
Now, do you think you'll play as a different class on PC than you will on PS4?
Probably. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what's going to be the funnest to play yet.
Yeah.
So
it is hard to say. I'm going to no doubt be a hunter.
Yeah. Just right now, I know I want to play the Titan.
Another thing I forgot to say that I liked about the other classes is that I like how supportive the Titan and Warlock can be in PvP, whereas the Hunter, which I don't mind this, the Hunter is purely based around combat and speed, but I love that wall the Titan can throw up. Which subclass is that?
Well, it's both.
Okay. Okay. The walls for both.
The first 2. What shape are they? I guess they're squares, but they're turned to the side. What is that?
Diamond?
Is it a diamond?
I guess.
I don't know.
You're talking about the little icon.
Yeah. Like, where you pick your different abilities.
Yes.
One was a bigger shield and one was a smaller shield where you crouch down below it.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one because there was a guy who I was shooting at who was crouched right.
I didn't like the smaller one very much because I don't like crouching mid-fight.
I kind of like that, though. I mean, I like both in the sense that if it's a bigger wall, you can protect more people.
Yeah. But if it's a smaller one, you can actually put it in front of you and use it.
Kind of take. I mean, that's effective because there was a guy on flat ground that was hiding behind it, and I could barely. Just the top of it, like the corner of his head was sticking out, so it was really tedious to try try to get him in the head. So I could see that being effective.
Yeah, sure.
But I like how you
just
have that
prefer
option.
the big one. I don't know. I liked putting it on an area where I wasn't focusing on, so I couldn't be flanked as easy.
Yeah, and of course the bubble, as always, is great for protecting teammates, especially when you're capturing a flag. It's awesome. Yeah. So how'd you feel about what were the Warlock's abilities again? I just don't know.
What's their class ability?
Yeah.
Well, you hold it's circle on PS4.
Can't you heal your teammates or something?
You put down like a little white pool below your feet, and you recover health quicker.
Okay.
And your abilities, I think. So it's useful just to stand in it to recharge.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
And I think it might give you a buff in damage too. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Cool. Yeah, the Hunter's dodge ability is fine, I guess. It never saved my life.
Yeah, I wish they would have given something more, supportive for your team as the Hunter.
Yeah. I mean, I get the idea the Hunter is the combat one. He just kills everything, but...
I mean, it just makes them more elusive. Did you try both the different dodges? Like, I know one was just like a little twirl, but one was also like the old shade step for the Night Stalker class where you like spin on the ground.
So it was whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
The only thing I like about the Hunter is the double jump. That's it. I like the throwing knife too.
Yeah, the throwing knife's good.
So
I think that's only for Gunslinger, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always liked the throwing knife. It's saved my life.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that always talk about the throwing knife and getting like cool headshots with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's always satisfying.
But yeah, overall, I say Destiny 2 is a pretty solid beta.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad we didn't get very much as opposed to the first one where we got the whole Earth.
In a lot of ways, I almost felt sort of burnt out after the first beta.
Well, I wasn't, because I was like, oh, this is just a small taste. Like, Destiny's going to be massive.
Right.
Like, this is just like a few of the missions on Earth. But no, it was every single one. Mm-hmm. And the story was awful on top of that. So.
Yeah. I wouldn't say burnt out in the sense where I didn't want to play it, but I definitely felt like I'd gotten a lot out of that beta.
Then you had to replay all those missions again. Like, you knew what was going to happen in that strike. This
time around, I'm glad it's just the one story mission and just a little taste of a strike. Very brief taste of the social space and the multiplayer. So, pretty exciting.
Indeed.
But yeah, Jacob, this is, and this goes out to everyone else listening, this is the It's Obvious podcast, the show where my two best friends and I gather every single week to discuss video games. Obviously, as always, I can't remember Preston's entire spiel, but if you're listening to this podcast anywhere else but YouTube, we are on YouTube at youtube.com/ItsObviousGaming, where you can find the video version of this podcast. That's if you enjoy the sounds going into your eardrums through Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, wherever you might be in the world. We are on YouTube, and we do weekly content in addition to this podcast.
Yes.
Mostly Let's Plays, but occasionally we will do some unboxings.
If you want to put a face to our voice, this is a good place to do it.
Exactly.
I guess it's the only place
I'm
to do
a clown and Jacob's a velociraptor.
Yes.
So a very unique team we have here, but we get the job done for the most part. And this week, we should have an Ask IOG episode coming out, because Preston has told me that his schedule is relatively normal this week. So I trust that we'll crank one of those out. We look forward to it, because that's the show where you all send us questions. We answer your questions. It makes it a very dynamic, random conversation. So those are always fun.
And we prefer on that show to have questions not about games. If there's a place for it, we would prefer it there.
Yes. But if you're listening on iTunes, even if you don't listen on iTunes, if you're willing to take 2 to 5 minutes out of your day to go to iTunes, not only subscribe and rate us on iTunes, but leave us a brief review, that does wonders for this podcast. You know, of course, we're looking to grow, and iTunes is one of the fastest way to do that, because the more reviews and subscriptions and ratings you receive, the quicker you make it to the new and noteworthy page.
And that's our ultimate goal.
It is, yeah, that would be great for us. And again, I know you guys, a lot of you out there have podcasts of your own, so if you're on our Discord channel, feel free to share your podcast in the community content section of the Discord, and we would love to leave you guys reviews as well, because we want to return the favor. So we greatly appreciate all of you who have done that thus far. We'll check out some reviews at the end of the show and talk about them, and all of you who will do that in the future, a huge thank you in advance.
And if you are doing that, if your podcast is on iTunes, I will listen to it, because that's where I watch my podcast, is through the podcast app.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just prefer listening to every podcast on YouTube. I don't know why.
Like, I don't like that, because you can't close YouTube. Like, you can't.
Well, it's because I only listen to podcasts when I'm driving. Okay. So I think that's why I prefer it.
See, I sometimes listen to them like when I'm driving, but also like if I'm at work, I'll put my phone in my pocket. I don't want to have my phone on. Yeah. Because I might press something, you know.
I know that's weird if people hear that I only watch podcasts on YouTube or listen to them. It is weird when I think about it, because it's so much easier and more convenient to listen to it on a streaming service. But I think it's because on YouTube, they're all in one place and I can get to them quickly.
I watch the Kind of Funny, what's it called? The Game of Greggy show.
Okay.
I watched that on YouTube because I would have to wait till the end of the week to get it on iTunes because they don't release it daily on iTunes. It's just the end of the week where it's that one episode.
I feel you. What were we talking about? We were talking about iTunes. But yeah, if you're anywhere else but on YouTube, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd love to meet you guys. Comment on any of our videos. We always like meeting new people. Knowing that you're tuning in is exciting.
Yeah.
Is there anything else Preston says at the beginning? He says so many things that I just tune out every time he starts talking.
I don't know, dude. I'm also very tired.
I don't know. I'm just going to move on.
Let's move on.
Welcome to the podcast. It's good to have you here.
Welcome.
Jacob, Doomfist. He's launching on your birthday, July 27th. Are you excited about it?
That's very exciting. I can't wait to give him a shot.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch you in action.
Me too.
So I'm excited.
I'm excited to watch me too.
We've already talked about him in the past, but that's cool to knowing he's coming very soon.
Yeah, so I will be on the PC, just punching stuff.
A lot of great Doomfist cosplay I've seen so far. Only a handful of people, but a couple of them have been spot on from what I've seen.
There was a cool one at Comic-Con that I saw.
Yeah. I'm amazed at the detail and the fact that he was literally just announced a couple weeks ago, and people have already put together cosplay that looks that good is impressive. So that's pretty exciting. But that brings us to talk about some Kingdom Hearts, Jacob. I mean, last week they, maybe it was last week, a week or two ago at D23, they revealed Kingdom Hearts will be taking a visit to Toy Story. And in fact, it takes place after Toy Story 2, and it is canon, apparently, to Toy Story story, which is pretty awesome. But Level 3 Jamie on Discord asks, "Hey guys, just saw the new Kingdom Hearts gameplay and wanted to know what you think. Saw that you're able to have 5 people on your team. Donald has a lot of healing to do. Also, I'm a guy. Forgot to say that in the last question. Yes, remember we were speculating whether or not Jamie was a man or a woman.
Gotcha.
It's a man.
Now
Jamie, thank you for your question, but we're also excited about Kingdom Hearts, of course. We talk about it often on this podcast. And Toy Story is one of my favorite franchises of all time, so it's a meeting of 2 great things that I adore.
Oh, yeah. How do you feel about their models? You think they look cool?
Yeah, I think it looks great. I mean, especially the Toy Story characters, but our classic Kingdom Hearts characters look pretty cool as toys.
Yeah, I think Sora looks a little awkward, but I don't think it's that big of a deal.
No, he's an action figure, so I don't care.
I'm excited for not only Toy Story, but just for Kingdom Hearts in general. Any information that we get, I'm going to eat it up.
Now, speaking of information in Kingdom Hearts 2, Jacob,
please go ahead.
It says, according to director Tetsuya Nomura, Kingdom Hearts 3 features less Disney worlds than 2, but the worlds are far denser, including the gameplay. So how do you feel about that?
That's okay.
So when
I've always thought that the stories in each world were a little short. So if they're more fleshed out this time, it's always a good thing.
Like, for example, in Kingdom Hearts 3's gameplay, you can get in that mech at one point in the Toy Story. So that's different. I think the director actually said later on in that interview that that was one of the first things I wanted to design was in addition to the core gameplay of just running around hacking and slashing things is to get into mechs and stuff like that. So
Keyblade has a lot of different forms this time around.
It does. It's pretty flamboyant.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's dancing.
Yeah.
So it's exciting, though. I can't wait to see Sora and Donald and Goofy interact with Woody and Buzz and everyone.
Yeah. I don't know if you have this on your sheet, but there was a release year now.
2018.
Yes.
We'll see if they stick to that.
I hope they do.
Me too.
I need Kingdom Hearts. Now more than ever.
I'm going to laugh if it's like December 31st, 2018. God. It was technically in the year. So we'll see.
That's what they do when they need a placeholder.
Yeah.
They put that date.
Hopefully sooner than later. That'd be great.
Yep, for sure. Yeah.
But one other thing I'll say, I'm amazed at the recreation of Andy's room and his house and his front yard.
I wonder if we'll see Andy. I doubt it.
Maybe. He might like come into the room at one point like, hi, act like you're dead.
What
or
if
something.
It's a heartless Andy? It's just a giant kid.
What if he was the boss? You have to beat the crap out of a heartless Andy.
Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be wild.
He needs a good beating.
Yeah, of course, we'll probably fight Zurg at some point. I'd love that. What if Zurg was like the main heartless bad guy?
I didn't think about that.
That makes the most sense.
That'd be fun.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
That's what they should do. Hopefully it's that. Maybe that or...
Well, who are all the villains in Toy Story? Well, who was in the first one?
The first one was just Sid. He was the villain.
Okay.
So 2 was technically that big bald guy who collected the toys. But Zurg was there. But Zurg was just kind of a cameo towards the end. He was like the toy villain.
Yeah.
But I think Zurg would work really well as a heartless villain in Toy Story.
Then the third one, it was a teddy bear.
Right. And it takes place just after Toy Story 2, so we won't see... What's the bear's name in Toy Story 3?
I don't know.
It's
something...
He's the Care Bear.
Yeah, something cheesy.
I can't remember. Something bear. The purple one. But I doubt he'll be in there.
Yeah.
But it looks very exciting. I'm pumped for it.
Me too.
But Jamie, thank you for your question. Yeah, we're just as excited.
Let us know down below if you guys are excited for Kingdom Hearts 3 as well.
By the way, how do you feel about the? It's 5 people, right? Yeah, 5 people in your team.
That's awesome. I've always wanted. I never wanted to take Donald and Goofy out of my party because they're losing out on experience.
Yes,
and they're going to be with you at the end of the game. They always are. They're your most important party members because you can only use the world guys in the world you're in. So, but I always wanted to use all the characters at the same time. So this is a good change, I think.
Definitely, because now, just like in Toy Story, Buzz and Woody plus Sora, Donald and Goofy. Yeah, that's awesome. And every world you can go to, you can have 2 heroes from that world. For example, in Big Hero 6, you'll have Hero and what's the big guy's name again? The white thing, the inflatable. Baymax, that's what it is. So you can have both of them on your squad when you go to the Big Hero 6 world, which I'm also very excited for. That's thrilling. I really want to watch that movie again.
Yeah, it's good. It's such a sad movie.
Sad.
Oh yeah.
What's sad? Oh, I guess.
You remember the beginning?
I remember the beginning now, but I've seen a lot sadder Disney movies, but it's definitely sad. Especially I
remember that every time I think about it. It's the beginning. It's so sad.
Yeah, I forgot about that. It's not as sad as Up. We watched a portion of Up.
Yeah, Up is very sad.
In my sound design class for literally a pointless reason. I think it had to do with the music, maybe. But that movie I have not seen since the theater. Now, again, I never cried, but that is the closest I've ever come to weeping profusely in a movie. Yeah. Like, I had to fight so hard not to cry. And even just seeing a snippet of the beginning again, years later in my class, I almost cried again. I'm like, that is so horrendously sad. And a lot of it has to do with the music. It's amazing. Yeah. So it's really analyzing the score of that movie, which is pretty cool. But that's besides the point, Jacob. But yeah, we were very excited about Kingdom Hearts.
Yep. Yeah, we're both big fans.
Yep. 2018, man. Keeping our fingers crossed for that one.
Yes.
Jacob, did you know that there's a team at Sony Ben Studio, developing Days Gone that is strictly dedicated to developing dynamic events within the game?
Really?
These events include the weather, the freakers, infected wolves, ragers, which are infected bears, marauders, and all kinds of goodies like that, Jacob. The reason I bring this up is last week, Kyle submitted a question about what we think makes an open world work, and one of the biggest features within open worlds for me are the dynamic events, the random events that, even if they are scripted, feel like they're unscripted events. And this is one of my favorite aspects because they said it's not entirely random, but it's mostly based on the environment you're in, the level progression, and the weather. So I think it's cool that these events can take place at any time in a mission, and they've exemplified this in the E3 footage we've seen. For example, in that demo where he rides his motorcycle to the base, he kind of sneaks through and unleashes those freakers, and they wipe everyone out. They said every mission will always obviously have a point A and a point B, a start and an end, but anything can happen within said mission due to these random events that they've dedicated to not only splice into the missions, but also the open world itself. So I think that's what will make it stand apart from, I know they're getting a lot of Last of Us vibes, but not only is it an open world, but the fact that all these random events are designed specifically to make every mission and every time you go anywhere a very unique, unpredictable experience, I think not only makes it different from The Last of Us, but also makes it exciting in the sense that I'm going through this open world and anything could happen. I have no idea whether it's involving the wolves, the bears, the freakers, the people themselves, the weather, anything can happen. Yeah. So I think that's why I'm excited about Days Gone. I get the people making comparisons to The Last of Us. No, it looks like a lot of Sony games and everything, but I think that in itself makes me very excited for it. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I never complain about dynamic events in games. Like, I like random stuff happening on its own.
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to say, because I know Last of Us has been its biggest comparison. People have been putting them side by side, like, it's the same game, but I think that's why it stands apart from The Last of Us, whereas The Last of Us is a very scripted experience, and Days Gone, you really don't know what's going to happen. So, and it makes it just fun in the missions. You can really go about it. I know a lot of games do this, but you can really go about any way you want. You never know what you're going to experience. You really have to adapt to the environment you're in. And they mentioned very briefly the level progression you're at. So clearly there will be a leveling system. I wonder if we'll have various abilities to equip. Maybe you can customize your motorcycle. I'm assuming that's going to be a part of the game for sure.
I'm pretty sure you can upgrade the cycle.
So,
and we still don't have a release date, do we?
I don't think so.
Because we only got one for what? I'm trying to think. Did we get one for any Sony game?
We did. We got early 2018 for God of War.
Okay. But there wasn't one for that. There wasn't one for Detroit.
We got 2018 for Spider-Man sometime in 2018. That's if it's not delayed. Yeah, Detroit is coming. Did they give an exact date for that, or did they just give a year? I can't remember. There's so many dates that happen constantly in this industry that I get them all mixed up.
It's just a year.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. At least Detroit has a release date now, roughly, because for a while no one had any idea when that was coming. It's been in development for so long. But that excites me, Jacob. I'm very pumped for Days Gone because of that aspect.
Nice.
And I just like shooting things in the apocalypse.
Nice.
It's always a plus. Jacob, Casey Hudson is returning as the general manager of BioWare. Aaron Flynn stepping down, quote unquote. This is exciting for me because, of course, Aaron Flynn's been around nearly as long as Casey Hudson. I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert on the staff at BioWare, but I've been aware of the name Casey Hudson in the past and played a role in not only stuff from Knights of the Old Republic all the way through Mass Effect. I think he even claimed in his coming back message that he even helped lay the foundation for Anthem. So, of course, people are saying like, oh, Andromeda's failure. And I wouldn't even call it a failure, but Andromeda's very rough start and even just rough reception among critics and the fans collectively has been rather disastrous in a lot of ways. Yeah. So people are claiming that's probably a major factor as to why Aaron Flynn is having to step down and Casey's returning. But, Casey left for, I think, a few years. I know he has that message. You guys can go read it. It's on BioWare's website. But he's back, and he's ready for action, apparently. And they're going to have all these meetings to bring him up to speed as to where they're at with Anthem and more. So that's cool. I think going forward, the Mass Effect trilogy was under his protection, and it was a phenomenal trilogy.
And now it has a huge void in it.
It does, yeah. I wouldn't even say it takes away from the previous trilogy at all. It's just disappointing because Mass Effect is so good and people were hoping for a bit more. But I don't know if Mass Effect's dead for good. Maybe after Anthem.
I feel like it is for a while.
Oh, for a while, no doubt. But I imagine at some point they'll at least give it one more shot. So we'll see. But that's not really a huge story, but I thought that was pretty cool that he's coming back and BioWare has hope again, I guess. I never really doubted BioWare because Anthem looks phenomenal. I'm pumped to see more from that.
Yeah.
But he's back. He's ready for action, Jacob.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yep. Jacob, speaking of great video games, Andromeda's not one of them, but Mass Effect's a great video game. Doom, I think you've waited long enough to pick it up. If you ever decide to pick it up, you've waited for the opportune time. Have you heard about the 6.66 update?
Yes, but I don't know what's in it, so tell me.
Okay, let me bring you up to speed. Now, I've not included everything because it's so much, but I've listed the major factors of this update. So update 6.66, clever update number there, brings substantial changes to the game's multiplayer with a revised progression system, new rune system for loadouts, enhanced kill notifications, and bug fixes. In addition to these improvements, we're upgrading all existing players' content to include all multiplayer DLC for free, Jacob.
Wow.
All the DLC maps, weapons, armor sets, and demons will be available for all players to enjoy.
They're so nice.
Oh, yeah. Item unlocks are no longer random. For example, when you were leveling up the game, let's say, you reach rank 17, it would literally unlock a random piece of armor or a shader for you to equip. And now, every piece of gear and every weapon has challenges and requirements set to them to unlock it, which I think is far more exciting. Which is something I've always loved about Call of Duty and other shooters, is the fact that you see
for like the camos and stuff.
Yeah, Red Tiger, I have to have 150 headshots. Okay, I know what I'm working towards. So that's cool to see your progression going towards. I want this specific piece of armor. This is what I have to do to get it.
Yeah. See, that's cool as long as you don't have to do something that makes you play a way you don't want to. Like, get 10 knife kills or something you never do, like a throwing knife. I don't know.
See,
if you have to change your play style to meet the needs to, unlock something, that's not always fun for some people.
See, I kind of prefer that over random because you could have random drops and may never get the item you want. Versus if I have
I'm not saying either way is the most optimal way.
If I have to alter my play style, me personally, I like altering my play style because I like changing the way I play because it can get stale after a while. For example, whenever I play
But you're
Doom,
not everyone, right?
No, whenever I play Doom, I love it, but I literally roll with the burst rifle and the combat shotgun every single match. So for the most part, every match is the same experience. I still love the core gameplay, but it isn't really dynamic. But in this sense, I say, hey, I want this really badass demonic right arm for my armor. I see the requirements I have to complete to do that. And even if I have to kind of slightly change things up, it makes it a fresh experience for me. So I think it's cool. All the maps are for free, all the DLC, and the leveling system is actually reset to I can't remember. It's very descriptive. It's all on their website. There was so much I didn't want to bore people with the details, but everyone is back to 0 now. Now, veteran players can do this weird thing where they can keep all the stuff they've already unlocked if they choose to do so, or they can just start fresh.
What are you going to do?
I don't really care. I'll probably just start fresh. But what's also cool is that if you've been a veteran player since day one, they give you a special badge you can wear that's been like, oh, I've been here from the beginning. So, but you can also keep everything you've acquired, and then everything else you have not acquired has all the requirements, so you can just continue where you left off. So I think that's great that not only if you have not picked up the game, this is the optimal time to do so because you get all the DLC and it's been completely revised, the leveling system, progression system. And I like that, what's something else they mentioned? Oh, the runes now. You haven't played Doom multiplayer, but they had these things called armor somethings, where every time you die, you can equip these very small, subtle perks that kind of enhance you. But for example, there's one, I can't remember the names of any of them, but there's this one perk. Let's say I die, I can pick one. There's like a list to pick from. I choose one that will let me see enemies through walls for 30 seconds when I spawn. That's helpful. There's another one you can spawn, and very briefly, you'll have infinite ammo, so you can just shoot without having to reload. It'll last like 30 seconds. Little perks like that. Well, the rune system now apparently, if I read this correctly, you select one, and not only are they more significant, but you can kind of build upon them as the match progresses, which is kind of interesting. So I just think this is out of nowhere for me, and I love Doom multiplayer. So for those of you that have not played it yet and have any interest whatsoever, this is the best time to do so. And I think there's a couple free weekends to play the game if you want to get a taste for it before, like, oh, I'm just going to jump the gun and get the game.
This sounds like the last big update for Doom.
Probably, yeah. I'm hoping that they do a sequel to Doom. I mean, id Software is so talented they could do anything, but I'd love to see, especially with the success of Doom, I'd love to see them build upon what they've already done in Doom 1 and go further with that.
Yeah, sure.
But visit id Software's website or Doom's website, whatever it is. And not only can you see all the notes for this patch and update, but you can also see the schedule for all the free weekends, and you can get a taste of Doom to see if you want to join us in hell.
There you go.
Because myself, Kyle, Preston, we have a great time. I know there's a few of you out there that have also played with us in the past. I love it. So this is an awesome, unexpected update. So I encourage you, Jacob, if at any point you're like, hey, I just want to slaughter demons in hell, even if it's just for a week, I encourage you to give it a shot.
I can tell you right now, I wouldn't buy the game to play multiplayer. I would just get it for the campaign.
Well, the campaign in itself is phenomenal.
So, I know it is. Like it's not like I live under a rock. Like I've watched videos. Like I know everyone always praises it. So I have other things I want to play more. Maybe one day I'll come back to it. Like I always say.
I get that wholeheartedly, Jacob. But yeah, I'm pumped for that. We've also seen the Call of Duty Zombies reveal. I think it was officially revealed at Comic-Con, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think, or like a couple days before or something.
Yeah. How do you feel about that trailer? It looks spooky.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
I never think I'd look at zombies and be like, wow, that looks kind of scary. I love the design of the zombies in this one. They look horrifying.
I'm glad we're going back to Nazi zombies. We have the opportunity to finally.
Yes.
Because that's where it all started. The map looks very dark and eerie.
It does.
Some German scientist has been creating monsters, basically. And there was one like big guy. I assume he's going to be like spawning every, 10 rounds or something to wreak havoc.
Perhaps.
And you're going to have to run away and shoot him.
Now,
like typical zombies. I
have not watched the panel reveal for this. I have not read about it. So I probably should have done so before talking on a podcast about it. But I'm not going to say anything more. Based on the trailer, I think it looks really cool. They may have said exactly what the gameplay is like at the panel. I have not watched it yet. So if you guys know the details surrounding Nazi zombies for Call of Duty World War II, please comment below. I'd love to hear about them and talk about it with you guys because I have no clue. I'm speculating maybe they're going back to the roots of Nazi zombies where it's purely just survival with minimal weird puzzles and challenges to figure out to enhance the experience. I don't know.
I wouldn't count on that. There's going to be like secret weapons and stuff.
Probably.
Because I think that stuff's cool. Like learning all the secrets, getting all the unlocks, getting all the perks, all the, the power-ups, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think zombies is like how they've been making it is pretty optimal and they should keep doing it.
I love zombies. I think it's awesome that's included in every single Call of Duty now. So, and it's always so different too, each one. I loved... what was it called in Infinite Warfare, the 80s? I know there's multiple versions of it now.
Oh, yeah, there's...
it's called
the first one was
Space World or something? Spaceland, that's what it was.
And I heard that the Rave and the Red was good, too.
I have heard that.
But I never bought the DLC. So.
Speaking of Nazi zombies, me, Zach, Carlos, and I think it was Andy, maybe we all played zombies in Black Ops 3, but it was the map from Black Ops 1 where you're in the theater.
Okay.
You remember that map?
I didn't play Black Ops.
Oh, it's awesome. It's where you're in like a old school theater, but there's this giant circle you can create where you just circle the entire place, and there's a teleporter where you go up to the Pack-a-Punch. But
Black Ops 1 was the only one I've missed since Modern Warfare 3.
Okay.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, great zombies in Black Ops 1, great campaign. Great multiplayer, but I was terrible at it.
Yeah.
That's what I remember from Black Ops 1.
That, yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious because it's my second favorite Call of Duty campaign of all time is Black Ops 1, right after Infinite Warfare.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah.
And maybe World War II will be a new favorite.
It could be.
It's gotta be Infinite Warfare, though.
That's the thing about Infinite Warfare is that those guys from Naughty Dog that helped kind of cater to the development of that story, it was so impactful that I'm hoping, because World War II, in a sense, should be even more impactful than Infinite Warfare, because World War II was, I mean, it's a fictional story based in real events, but it has the potential to be very impactful, and I'm hoping the writing and character development is as solid as it was in Infinite Warfare, because I will never forget how surprised I was at how good Infinite Warfare's campaign was. I was like, that was a Call of Duty game.
It's ironic, though, because I feel like the Infinite Warfare multiplayer was the worst it's ever been.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it was
fun at all.
I wouldn't say it was developed poorly. It was just, it's not fun. I think everyone, like you mentioned, everyone's over the flying around.
I'm so sick of everyone just flying everywhere and just like sliding around corners. And I just want to play a shooter,
which makes me sound like a giant hypocrite because I'm stoked for Lawbreakers, and that's all you do in Lawbreakers.
Yeah, that's why I'm hesitant. Like it looks cool, but that's why I'm hesitant to get it. Like, I don't know. I don't like people flying around everywhere. I
don't know why I think it's because Call of Duty, we started with boots in the ground for so long. That's where my love for the series built up. Whereas in Lawbreakers, it's not Call of Duty. It's entirely different from Call of Duty. Yes, it's a shooter, but it's way different. So I think the reason why we want Call of Duty to go boots to the ground is just I think that's where Call of Duty thrives. Yeah. But I think that's why I'm open to the Lawbreakers flying around like.
And we have other shooters that do that, like Lawbreakers, Titanfall. I think that's why I kind of fell off from Titanfall, because I don't like that kind of gameplay.
See, I have a blast in Titanfall, mostly because it feels so good to play. But
yeah, Titanfall, the gunplay was always fantastic.
Plus, arguably, Titanfall did the running on walls and boosting around before Call of Duty did.
Yeah,
so
it did.
I'm excited about it. We were talking about zombies. Is that what we were talking about?
New zombies reveal.
Looks rad, man.
Yep. I have nothing to add.
November 3rd, I think.
Yep.
Private beta starting the 25th of next month?
Yes, of August.
Yeah, excited for that as well.
Yep.
Love me some Call of Duty, man.
I assume it's not afraid to admit multiplayer, right?
I think
that's what it was last year. Wait, was there one last year?
I think there's always been a beta.
I don't remember playing a beta for Call of Duty last year. I remember it for Black Ops 3 in particular, but not Infinite Warfare.
I don't think I played a beta for Infinite Warfare either.
Oh, wait. I think I did.
I have no idea.
I do remember it. Yeah. Okay. It was okay.
Yeah, it was fine. Well, Jacob, small story again, but NoClip's next project is going to be the Witcher franchise.
I was very excited when I saw that.
That is so cool.
I can't wait for him to go talk to that studio, because they're one of the coolest and best studios that I've ever heard about.
Definitely.
Just those gestures they did when they released Witcher 3, we got that letter in the game case, that was awesome. And all that free DLC was great too.
It was, even if it's just little things, I loved it. My favorite free DLC we ever got was the additional kill moves in the game where you could chop people's legs and arms off and stuff. That was just the best. It's that's such a little thing, but I appreciate that so much.
I liked the ones that involved quests, and also the ones that gave different wares. Show me your wares.
Yeah.
For the different characters.
Have you ever seen any of NoClip's smaller interviews called NoClip Sessions?
I've never watched any of this stuff.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. Some of them are follow-ups to guys they've interviewed in the past, or guys or girls from studios, but they did one with the lead, I think it was the director of The Witcher 3, if I'm not mistaken. He's been around for the whole Witcher franchise, but he's the director or one of the lead designers who we interviewed at Gamescom a few years back. I don't know even if it was a few years, but interviewed the guy. It was a small interview, and they kind of talked about Witcher a bit. It was a taste to see what we're going to get with this full documentary of the Witcher franchise. It's going to be great to see it from the very beginning of the Witcher, or at least the game franchise, going all the way through Witcher 3. That I'm so pumped. I guarantee you it's going to make me want to play Witcher 3 all over again.
I wish I had time to play through it again.
So did I. I mean, of course, Preston, it will not phase. I'm sure he'll enjoy the documentary, but it will probably not want to make him want to play the game again, because he has played it probably more than any other human being I know.
Yeah, he has so much time to play games. I don't know where he gets it.
I can't imagine anyone's platinum the game twice. I mean, maybe some real platinum junkies out
sure
there.
Many people have done it.
But he's probably one of the few that have platinumed it twice.
I'm sure it's not a very big number.
No.
Maybe 100 or 2.
So hats off to Preston for that. Jacob, Comic-Con happened this past end of the week through the weekend.
Yep, we were gone for it, but we saw the trailers, right?
We did. I mean, of course, there's countless things that are revealed and shown off at Comic-Con, but we're going to talk about some of our favorite. Of course, we're going to talk about all of the big trailers. We're going to talk about some of the things we love about these trailers, Jacob. Why don't we start with Thor Ragnarok?
This is my favorite one.
You and me both, man.
I love the music and the feel that I get from the trailer. I don't know what the right word for it is.
It's just a lot of fun.
It's
to me.
retro-y. Yeah.
It kind of feels like they're going for an 80s vibe. It does sort of feel that way.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Got Thor and Hulk
teaming
in
up.
a gladiator arena to start out the video.
So awesome.
It's awesome. I don't know. We don't know why Hulk is there. I mean, I'm sure if you know comics and stuff, you know, but I don't get into that stuff, so I'm interested to see how that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Not a huge fan of the villain per se. I don't know if I'm gonna like her very much.
The goddess of death.
Yeah. And I'm sick of people taking over Isengard.
Asgard.
Yeah,
Isengard.
Isengard's in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I just wish there was something different that was happening. It seems like everyone's just taking over that place.
Everyone loves that place, man.
I mean, it's a beautiful place.
I think the difference is that the majority of the movie takes place on that planet that Thor goes to, where it's kind of like a space world where there's spaceships and there's all these different races of people and everything. It's almost like Guardians of the Galaxy meets Thor. It's kind of like a combination of the two. And just the dynamic of Thor and Hulk teaming up is amazing.
Awesome.
That's so cool.
Thor, apparently she breaks his hammer. So
yes, shatters it to pieces.
I wonder if I'm sure he's going to get it back because it's so iconic. How it's going to get put back together.
I think there's another weapon he has. There's like an axe or something.
I mean, I saw him with blades and like the poster and the trailer. So,
and obviously he's the god of lightning or thunder, and he has that ability that they tease at the end.
Can he use that without? Oh, yeah, I guess he can without the hammer.
So I think there's a very specific axe he gets that's a main weapon at some point that he may use in Infinity War. So I'm not an expert on Thor by any means.
He's always been one of my favorite Avengers, though. I know a lot of people put him to the side when they think about Avengers, oh, there's Iron Man. Everyone loves Iron Man.
Right.
But he's always been one of my favorites, believe it or not. I like that he can control thunder and just, at his will.
I think Thor has evolved the most since his debut.
Yeah, I like his new look too. The shorter hair.
Not only his new look, but just his personality has evolved. I mean, he was a little jokey in the beginning, but he seriously kind of developed a comedic personality as it's progressed. Because I think writers and directors have picked up on Chris Hemsworth's comedic timing because he's hilarious in this trailer.
Yeah, he is.
So I'm excited to see.
I think that helps Thor too, because like I said, a lot of people haven't really been into Thor as a character in the Marvel universe, but I think the comedic, all the joking really helps people want to see those kind of movies more, the Thor movies.
That's what's so cool about Marvel is that it's like every movie that comes out, they're just getting better and better. It's like they're learning how to make each movie stand on its own. They don't really make any duds anymore. Right, just not only making characters just go to new places and do different things that we haven't seen before, but they all kind of stand apart. Like Ant-Man, for example, is a fun heist movie. Spider-Man's a coming-of-age high school story. Yeah, now they're putting multiple superheroes in the movies, so it's not just that one person. Exactly, the team-ups are great. Winter Soldier's sort of like a spy thriller type movie, and Civil War was basically an Avengers movie. I felt like. Yeah. And just cool to see the heroes fight each other, and then Black Panther kind of I don't even know how to describe how Black Panther looks, so that movie looks awesome too. Oh, yeah. I'm pumped for that. But Thor, man. Is that next year? I believe so, yeah. So we're getting Infinity War and then Black Panther next year. Yes. I feel like there's another one. If I'm not mistaken, it goes Ragnarok, Black Panther, and then it's Infinity War. Like winter? Black Panther? Or is it spring? I mean, Thor doesn't come out till November, so I'll have to double check. I have no clue. Because I know they're not going to release Panther and Infinity War too close together, you would think. No, maybe they'll be released 6 months apart or something. I don't know. Yeah. I'll have to double check. I'm not completely solid on dates. But I will say that Thor Ragnarok after Spider-Man is easily my most anticipated superhero movie of the year, even more so than Justice League. No, Spider-Man already came out? It did, yeah. So now after Spider-Man. Oh, you mean this year? Okay. After Spider-Man, it is my most anticipated superhero movie. I thought you meant movie. In the future of what's coming. But, yeah, that movie looks awesome. I think it looks gorgeous. All the action looks over the top and crazy. Yeah. the comedic side of things looks great. I cannot, and even Loki teaming up with Thor, even though Loki, Loki's going to betray them again, of course, probably.
He's always been one of my favorite characters, and
he's fantastic.
Movies. Yeah, I love. What's his name?
Now you're confusing me. I know his name. He's so famous.
Yeah, it's
gosh,
we're idiots.
It's like I know his name all the time, but of course when the mics are in front of us, I can't think of anything.
He was in
Crimson Peak.
What was the movie he was just in? The Kong
Skull Island.
Yeah.
Dude, I have no idea.
I gotta look it up.
Yeah, it's gonna drive me insane.
Anything else you want to say about Thor?
Not much more than I'm just very excited to see it. So pumped. But we'll talk about Justice League next after you find this gentleman's name.
Okay. It's Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston. I knew it started with a T, but I didn't want to be like, Thomas?
Timmy?
Timmy Hiddleston. How do you feel about Justice League? How does it look to you?
This trailer got me much more excited than I've ever been for it. I've always just been, after seeing Superman and not only Superman, but Batman v Superman and then Suicide Squad, I was just like, do I really want to keep watching Marvel movies or DC movies? Regrettably, I haven't seen Wonder Woman yet. I know everyone loves it. It's a great movie. But this Justice League looks good. I'm excited to see Flash more. He's always been one of my favorite DC superheroes. I'm sure he is for you as well. Mm-hmm. And they actually announced that the story in his movie is going to be the Flashpoint story.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, I don't know if you saw that new story yet.
We'll see if they can top the TV version of it.
Yeah. Well, I would be disappointed if they didn't.
Yeah.
Just because it's a movie.
Yeah.
But Justice League looks cool. The tease at the end with, I'm guessing Superman is coming back at the end, which I think everyone knows that's going to happen. But yeah. I mean, it looks cool.
People think Supergirl was in the trailer briefly. Bruce Wayne's looking at her at one point. People think it's Supergirl.
Yeah, I know a lot less about DC than I do Marvel, so I wouldn't know if that's something that could happen. So
yeah, there's a very subtle Green Lantern hint with the dialogue through there. Whoever spaces it, someone's saying like no Kryptonians, no lanterns.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing about this movie is that just they all look so awesome in their suits.
The characters.
Like, that's what I'm most excited about for some reason.
That's definitely by far the coolest Batman has ever looked.
You think so?
He looks so cool.
I really like the Dark Knight Batman. I like how he looks.
Yeah, he looks good in that too. But I do like how just bulky and intense Ben Affleck
I'm not
looks.
a huge fan of how the bat is on his suit.
I
don't like that bat.
I like it because it's just different from what we've gotten in the past. Obviously, it's very Dark Knight Returns inspired.
Yeah.
But I think Ben Affleck just looks so cool as Batman. Even in Batman.
There's a lot of rumors that he's not going to stick around as Batman.
Yeah, I've been hearing that for a while.
Like he might die or something. I don't know.
Perhaps.
Or pass on the mantle.
We'll see.
But how would you feel about that? Like,
I mean, I wouldn't blame him wanting to get out because it's been a very rocky start for DC.
How would that work out in like his solo movie? Like, would he pass on the mantle?
Probably.
Like, would there be a Robin in the movie?
Maybe.
Or
I mean, there's been times in the past where Dick Grayson briefly becomes Batman and stuff. Damian Wayne, I think, maybe becomes Batman at one point. There's so many different versions.
Yeah.
But
they could go any direction.
Yeah, we'll see. That's the thing. I'd hate for him to step down now because I have a lot of faith in Matt Reeves coming off of the fantastic Apes trilogy.
Oh, he's directing it?
He is, yeah. Writing and directing it.
That's another movie I need to see is War of the Planet of the Apes.
I haven't seen that yet either. Maybe I should see that tonight.
Yeah. You're going to miss Thrones.
Oh, you're right. I forgot that's coming on.
And you're going to miss Michael Phelps racing
a shark. Yeah, I do need to see that. Yeah, maybe I'll go see Apes tomorrow.
I'm not going to play any games tonight. I'm just going to watch TV, which is weird because I never watch TV.
A lot of TV come on. And Decker comes on afterwards, right?
Yeah, I have that recorded.
That's great. Decker. It's a phenomenal TV show.
Yep.
So, but for me, all the same things you're excited for, just the look of the characters. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, based on reaction videos I've watched, Steppenwolf is indeed the villain in this movie.
Who's that?
He's one of the soldiers of Apocalypse, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know who that is.
Apocalypse is the main villain. He's Batman's vision. I think it's Apocalypse. There's another A name for a villain. I think it's Apocalypse. That symbol that's in that desert field of Batman's nightmare from Batman v Superman. That's like his logo. It looks like he comes down in Themyscira. I didn't think we'd be back there that soon after Wonder Woman. That's cool to see those characters again in that world. And looks like he's going to slaughter a lot of things, bringing those parademons with him. I love those brief shots of Batman literally killing parademons. How cool is that? Yeah. It's awesome. So, and Aquaman looks pretty awesome too.
Yeah, he's all right.
I mean, he was great in the teaser trailer, but he looks great. So I'm excited to see more of him.
He's a good looking man.
Yeah, I love the personality of the Flash. I mean, he's great in the TV show too, but I love her. It's like, yeah, I've never fought anyone. I just push them and run away. That's kind of what I loved about Spider-Man and Homecoming, is that he's kind of still coming into his own, figuring out what kind of hero he's going to be. So
naive,
yeah,
innocence.
Very exciting.
Let's move on.
Yeah. Ready Player One. How'd you feel about that trailer?
I never read the book, but it looks interesting.
I like the
concept
awesome.
of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that it's actually being made because it's so many different, franchises in one movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear the book is great. I've not read it myself, but Spielberg is directing. It's very cool.
That's good news, I think.
Nowadays, I think that's a good thing. I like the lead. He was Cyclops in the most recent X-Men Apocalypse, and he was also in a couple movies. I remember seeing him in a movie called Joe with Nicolas Cage, who plays a man named Joe.
Yeah.
Indie film. It was actually pretty decent.
So for those who haven't seen the trailer, it's basically like a VR or a digital experience. I don't really know how to describe the movie. It's
in the future. I think it's like 2040 or something.
The world's wasted away.
Yeah, there's not really much going on in the world, and literally everyone plays VR and goes to this place called
VR.
Yeah, a place in this world called the Oasis, and they go there, and there's just these different games to play. So there's like a racing game in there.
Do they get their nutrients from VR too?
I have no idea. I don't know. It doesn't
even look like there was food around or anything.
I mean, visually it looks fantastic. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, very visually effects heavy, but it looks really good. Have the Iron Giant teased in there, which is cool to see. Very weird to see him.
I thought it was an Iron Giant sequel for a second there. I was like, what the hell is Iron Giant doing in this?
Yeah, the DeLorean was in that race at one point from Back to the Future. I know in the book there's an X-Wing in there from Star Wars. I don't know if that'll be in the movie. I imagine it will be, with it being as popular as it is.
Yeah.
So what else is in there? There's a couple teases.
Warner Bros. Didn't fund the Star Wars, the first 3 Star Wars movies, right? Was that Fox?
I think so. Yeah.
Or
20th Century Fox.
Yeah, 21st Century Fox, yeah. Or I guess it was 20th back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it's still called 20th Century Fox. That's just
I think it might be 21st. No, I think they change it.
Do they?
I'm pretty sure.
I haven't heard that.
I'm pretty sure it's 21st.
You can look it up. I don't think it is. I think that's just the name of what it is. You could call it 18th Century Fox if you wanted to. It's just the name. But yeah, it looks cool. I think just visually it looks awesome. So I can't say I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm definitely going to see it because it looks cool. But I don't know anything about it. Maybe if I read the book, I'd be excited. But I have no time for reading.
Mass Media Company, 21st Century Fox.
You're right, Jacob. Wow.
So I recently looked at it and I was like, 21st. Thought it was 20.
Nice.
Like, just like you're thinking, but it's 21st.
I never picked up.
So I'm pretty sure
it
used to be 20. I think they just changed it because it's not the 20th century anymore. Which is kind of cool.
That reminds me, when I graduated 5th grade, I had to sing a song called Children of the 21st Century.
I think I sang that too.
You want to hear the chorus real quick?
Yes.
It goes, all of us had to sing this in my graduating 5th grade class.
What class where you were in Georgia?
I was in Gwinnett County.
Okay, never mind.
It goes, we are the children of the 21st century. I don't know any of the other lyrics, but I had to memorize it for weeks. It was terrible. It was an awful song.
Because I don't know if we sang that song, but my elementary class also had to memorize a song and sing it on stage.
That's the worst.
It's like, what's the point?
I'm so proud of myself as a preschooler, dude. My mom has video of me. I distinctly remember this like it was yesterday, which is so weird. I can remember a few things from my childhood, but I'll never forget this. My preschool graduating ceremony, we had to sing a bunch of songs on stage. And you know what I did the entire time? I turned around and laughed hysterically at the kid behind me because he was so into it. And I remember thinking that was so funny. Even as a 5-year-old, I thought that was funny. I turned around just the whole video. I'm just laughing and turning around, just laughing at a kid.
He's like singing into your ears. Like,
exactly. So
you're an idiot.
I'm very glad I did that because it's so funny to think about.
I'd like to see that video.
I'm sure it's laying around somewhere. What about the trailer for The Defenders?
It was all right.
Remember, you mistakenly, when we were on our way to Taco Bell, I was like, did you see the Defenders trailer? You're like, that looks like shit. What'd you say?
I was thinking about Inhumans, the TV show, which does look like shit.
Because I was so confused, because I know you and I are fans of the Marvel Netflix shows, and I was so confused. I'm like, how could you say that? And you and I like the shows on Netflix. I was like, what about it looks terrible?
Right. I'll just need to see it before I get super excited, I guess. It looks cool, but, the Defenders are just second-rate Avengers to me.
I mean, I'm not worried about their status, because I think all those characters are awesome.
I really like Daredevil. Like, he's always been my favorite out of the bunch.
Iron Fist is my least favorite by far.
Yeah. Jessica Jones is awesome.
Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and
Daredevil.
What's his name? Matt Murdock, are all very different from. I mean, all of them are very different from each other as far as their personalities are concerned and their abilities and all. Yeah. But I think all of them collaborating is going to be fun to see. And the trailer was entertaining. A lot of funny moments between the characters. A lot of cool action is in store. Sigourney Weaver, man, the evil ninja queen. So,
What's that organization called?
The Hand.
The Hand, yeah.
So,
which was in every one of those shows, right?
Yes, they all sort of had a presence, yeah. Which I think is definitely like, we're going to take over New York, and the Avengers are like, we don't have time for this crap.
So if they take them down in this show, which I think they will, like, what's going to be left after
It just means that all these awesome heroes are going to have new villains to deal with going forward. I mean, all of them had their own unique villains to deal with in their seasons thus far, but you just continue that. Hopefully some of them get out of New York a bit because of the fact that all of them, I mean, I know Luke Cage takes place in Harlem, Daredevil takes place in Hell's Kitchen, and I think Jessica Jones is mostly Manhattan, and then Iron Fist is kind of all over the place. But I'd like to see some of them get out of New York going forward because I feel like New York can get very stale after a while. Especially,
that's where they're supposed to be, though.
Yeah, I mean, they defend New York, hence the name The Defenders, but maybe Iron Fist has to go to that home world he went to. Maybe he has to go somewhere else that and do something.
Like, this is a spoiler, but here's your chance to click away, I guess. But do you think the spoiler, not the tease at the end of Iron Fist, will that lead into the Defenders series, or is that going to lead into the next Iron Fist, you think?
I don't know. I mean, I have no clue because it didn't really end. Like, he gets back and his home world's like empty. Yeah. It's like, what the heck? Or he can't even get in or something, right?
Yeah, the door's gone.
Yeah, so I don't really know how that would play a role.
All those guys are dead too on the way there.
I don't know how that's going to play a role in Defenders. If that has anything to do with
maybe
the Hand.
They've invaded his world. They stole something powerful. Yeah.
Of course, the Hand, remember, I feel like they had the biggest presence in Iron Fist because they're like the mortal enemy of the Iron. Like, the Iron Fist exists to destroy the Hand, which I think is cool. So in a lot of ways, he should technically be the leader of the Defenders.
Yeah. I doubt he is.
Yeah, I feel like Daredevil should be the leader.
Yeah.
Because he's also dealt with the Hand the most, too. So, we'll see. Yeah. It looks cool, though. I enjoyed the trailer. I'm excited about it.
I'm excited for it. And I didn't realize it was coming out in August.
Yeah, so, very soon.
Very excited.
And only 8 episodes, which I love.
Really?
I think 13 is far too many, man. Anything over 10.
What was 13?
All of the seasons of the Marvel shows have been 13.
Oh.
I think that's just always... I don't know if all of them have been exactly 13, but most of them have been 13 episodes.
Gotcha.
And I always feel like that's a bit too much. Like Luke Cage, I feel like could have ended in 5 or 6 episodes. Jessica Jones was fine, but I feel like that dragged out a bit. And Iron Fist was by far the most boring. I feel like you could cut out the first half of Iron Fist, and the second half is where things picked up. But 8 episodes, I think, will be perfect for the Defenders.
Okay, we will see.
That's what I loved about Stranger Things. It was only 8 episodes, and season 2 is only 9 episodes. How'd you feel about the Stranger Things season 2 trailer?
It was cool. Just looks like more
Stranger
weird
Things.
Shit.
Yeah. More Stranger Things are afoot.
Kids that don't know how to handle this sort of thing are going to be dealing with. So I liked the little thing where the kid was just walking towards the front of the store, I think, and then like he was...
What do they call that realm again? It's not called Nowhere. It's called The Other or something.
I don't remember.
It's called The Other.
But there was like some giant creature, right?
Yeah, it looks like how he's been infected. He's going to be having these visions of the other side.
I forgot that he was infected. Yeah, that's a spoiler.
He throws up the worms at the end of season 1.
Yeah.
So he sees that giant Cloverfield-like creature in the distance coming.
How did he get infected again?
I remember he was in... I can't remember the name. I'm just going to call it The Other. It's probably wrong.
I forgot what happened to him.
Remember, he was abdugted by the Demogorgon at the beginning, and that's what the whole series is about, them trying to find him. And he was infected.
I think he just ran away, or he was gone.
He was infected the whole time he was there. So,
but do we know how he got infected?
Maybe the Demogorgon kissed him on the lips or something.
I just didn't know if there was a reason.
I can't remember. There might have been a specific reason. I'd have to rewatch it. I'm definitely going to rewatch season 1 before season 2 because I just love it so much. I haven't seen it but once all the way through. So... really get to know the characters again going into season 2. So all the characters are awesome in that show. Yeah. And I love the main cop's name. I can't remember his name, but he's great. He's going to be the new Hellboy. Did you know that? Rebooting Hellboy is going to be the lead. So,
oh man,
all great trailers. So there are many more. There's like an Arrow trailer. There was a Flash trailer, I think.
Did you watch the Arrow trailer?
I watched half of it. I was like, I just can't care about this anymore.
I like Arrow stuff.
I mean, Arrow's cool, but I didn't.
It does drag on every season, but I still like it. And, if you watch it, then it's probably spoiled for you what happened.
I mean, I knew that Prometheus would be the main, in the previous season, which I'm still going to watch. It's on Netflix now, I think.
The whole first half of the trailer is stuff that's already happened last season. So.
So I know Prometheus the second they show that guy in the office of Arrow season 6 was last year or season 5? It was season 5.
Season 5.
I knew instantly he was the bad guy. I'm like, well, I've never seen this guy before. He's clearly the bad guy. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll catch up and watch it probably. But I might do the same thing I did this past season, wait for it to come to Netflix so I can just blaze through it.
Did you watch Flash all the way through?
I did not. I got to catch up on both of those.
It's not as exciting.
That's probably what I will do in between, what's the show? Game of Thrones. And after I finish One Punch Man, I think I have 2 episodes left of One Punch Man. Killer show, Jacob. You got to get into it.
I will.
It's awesome. And maybe I'll throw in
another. It's unfortunate I caught
there.
The Office bug.
Yeah.
If I would have never heard that news story, I probably would have watched One Punch Man.
The Office is
because I finished Castlevania and I was looking for something else to watch, and I was like, "Oh, okay, Office is leaving. Gotta watch that."
Yeah, I need to finish Castlevania as well. I've watched the first half of episode 1.
I really like it. Like it's really not that special for what it does, but I just like what it is.
I love the setting.
I've always been interested in Castlevania because I've surprisingly never played a Castlevania game.
I've only played a portion of one.
I feel like this is a good way for me to experience it.
There is, yeah. Yeah, I've only played a portion of a Castlevania game, so hopefully Virtual Console, maybe we'll get lucky and play a Castlevania game at some point. I know one of them is coming to SNES Classic,
right?
Which is cool. Game-wise, there are 2 games that, not really, well, there's a few actually. Telltale announced Season 2 of Batman called The Enemy Within. It seems the Riddler is going to play a major role in Season 2. Did you see the trailer?
No.
Oh, yeah, you haven't even played Season 1.
I didn't want to watch it.
Okay, are you going to play Season 1? It's really good.
Do I want to just sit and watch a video game movie?
Well, these are the questions you should ask. One,
all I'm doing is literally watching something and making choices, right?
Yes, but tell me this, Jacob. 1, are you a fan of Batman?
Sure.
Do you enjoy Batman's villains?
It's all right, yeah.
Do you enjoy the psychology that Bruce Wayne faces every day as Bruce Wayne?
I mean, I get like the whole premise behind the game.
Right.
Just I'll play it eventually.
It's like,
plus it's a free platinum.
It's like watching a TV show. Just you're directing the story.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love. I mean, granted, the reason why I liked it so much. 1, obviously, I'm a Batman fan too. That's the only Telltale game I've ever played.
I got to be in a particular mood to play it. I feel like I do want to play through the Game of Thrones too. Mm-hmm. Plus, I think I have the first season from PSN that month.
Yeah,
for free. So
yeah, they announced the Walking Dead final season as well. I've never played Walking Dead. I hear season 1 is by far the best and emotionally impactful.
I don't care about Walking Dead.
I've told myself I'm eventually going to play it because I hear season 1 is so good that I kind of want to play it at some point.
For me, it's one of those deals where like people talk about it so much where I'm just put off and I don't want to play it. You ever feel like that for things?
I understand what you mean, but I've never actually been put off by some. Or at least games, I have not been put off to playing them. There's definitely been maybe like music at some point people won't stop talking about it. I don't want to listen to it. But not often, no.
Yeah. It's like some people don't like playing Destiny because no one shuts up about it. They're like, God, leave me alone. I don't want to hear about this. I
don't blame people for this, but there seems to be very little interest. I mean, I know there's the core fan base of Destiny is stoked for Destiny 2, but it seems like for the most part, people are just not that interested in Destiny 2. Because not only have our videos not done very well for Destiny, but even the videos we did for the company I'm working for have way less views than everything else they've uploaded. I mean, they've been uploading things that are obscure that no one knows about that are getting more views than their Destiny content.
Really?
So people just aren't clicking on Destiny stuff.
Or maybe they don't want to watch the same kind of content because there's only a limited amount of stuff you can show off.
That is another, because I mean there's so many people uploading Destiny content that if people want their Destiny fill, they already have the people they're going to go to.
I feel like Destiny has the problem of they ruin themselves with the initial game for a lot of people and they don't want to give them that second chance. And because of that, you have a very big base that already plays Destiny, but it's not really growing, I feel like. So
right.
But they love the game, the people that do play it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's no doubt going to sell very well when it comes out, but it'll be interesting to see how it sells in comparison to the first one.
A lot of people are speculating whether it'll sell Call of Duty World War II. I don't think it will, but it could.
I don't think it will either.
It could.
It'll definitely sell very well, but I don't think it's going to outsell Call of Duty, especially since Call of Duty is going back to its quote-unquote roots.
What about Battlefront?
No, Battlefront. Are you talking about in terms of outselling Call of Duty?
No, Destiny.
Oh, dude, it might.
I think it'll be close.
I think it's because Battlefront not only is more recognizable, but it's an easier sell as well. It's just a very simple shooter, whereas Destiny is more of a RPG/shooter.
I think to a less degree, people are mad about the first Battlefront too.
Yeah, but people love
to a
Star
less
Wars.
degree.
I mean, people
exactly.
love Destiny
Like people
as well.
love Star Wars, so I don't know if it'll matter that much.
Yeah, because I know people that never play games are like, dude, I heard a new Battlefront's coming out this year.
Yeah.
They might buy one game a year, and that'll be
That might be
one.
the case for the new Spider-Man too. Like, oh, that Spider-Man game looks awesome. I'm gonna buy a PS4.
So, yeah, I think Call of Duty will probably be king. Not as far as sales are concerned, king of the shooters as usual. But that's besides the point, I guess.
Yeah.
Jacob, that brings us to community questions.
Oh boy.
This is our favorite part of the show because we can communicate with all of you directly. Thank you so much to each and every one of you who took time out of your days, your evenings, your work schedules, your free time to send us questions for the show. We greatly appreciate it. Got some fun ones this week.
Oh,
and
right.
keep in mind, you can reach us in a multitude of places. One, you can email your questions to us at ItsObviousGaming@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at obvious_gaming. Or you can join us on Discord and submit your questions in the Ask IOG section. That's probably the easiest, most accessible place for us to receive your questions. But
those are a lot of great places, Gary.
they are. You can also Facebook messages. You can send us messages on PSN. But those are the top three.
You can page me if you want.
Yeah, page Jacob.
If you can find my number, I'm not going to give it to you.
It's challenging, but when you can find it, it's a very exclusive club to be in for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, all those places are great, and always include the hashtag AskIOG if you want your question read on this show, or AskIOG, which is returning this week, presumably. If Preston can't do it, Jacob, I say we just bite the bullet and you and me do it because I'm tired of waiting at this point. We got to do it.
Okay.
I've been putting off these questions for too long. I have questions from back in April. We got to get to them. A lot of great
if they're
ones.
irrelevant at this point, might as well just not answer them.
Well, that's what's good about AskIOG is that none of them are because they're not really tied to a specific date.
I mean, some things can be if you're like a certain subject.
Tell me if this is irrelevant. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like
there are questions like that.
Are you guys excited for Spider-Man? Like, it's already out.
Right. Any questions like that, we've already answered.
Okay.
So I specifically save the ones that are timeless. That's what I love about AskIOG. It's a timeless show.
Yeah.
Because it's
It
random.
can be. Yeah.
For the most part. But
it can be whatever we want it to be.
yeah, we're excited about it. But not Preston. I almost called you Preston. Excuse me, Jacob.
I am sitting in a seat.
You are. That's why I'm a little thrown off. And I'm just exhausted and sunburnt.
As am I.
I can't wait to just relax.
Me too.
Jacob, question number 1 comes from Andreas123. He says, what is your opinion on celebrities in games? A quick cash grab, marketing stunt, or a good idea?
All three.
Yeah, exactly. I think it is all three.
Just depends how you look at it.
What's your favorite celebrity appearance in a game so far? I want to say Kevin Spacey.
Me
in
too,
Advanced
yeah.
Warfare.
I like Kevin Spacey. That's just because I'm a big Spacey fan, though.
Me too.
I don't know if he did a great job in that role. I mean,
I think
especially the end, it sucked. But
yeah,
I thought his
was
character
pretty
itself
bogus.
was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that,
I will say most disappointing celebrity appearance. I know these are both Call of Duty games, but Jon Snow, Kit Harington, and
that
Infinite
was
Warfare.
very disappointing.
That could have been so much more.
One of the few bad things about Infinite Warfare was probably him.
Dude, I kicked his
role.
ass so hard at the end when
Oh,
he
yeah.
just bust in that room and shoot him in the face or like smash his head on the
Right.
desk. What a loser.
Yeah, he sucks.
He's way cooler in Game of Thrones.
That was a spoiler, by the way.
It was.
I have such a hard time thinking about stuff like this.
There hasn't been that many celebrity.
I like Nathan Fillion in Destiny too.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a few games. He's in Halo 5 and 4 as well.
Who does he play in Halo 5?
He's one of the Spartans.
Okay. Is he on Chief's team or Locke's team?
I think he's on Locke's team. Yeah, he's on Locke's team.
But what a disappointing like mashup that was, or like, you know, when they actually fought each other.
Halo 5's
Chief
campaign was awful, dude. I hated it. Gameplay, fine, but story was so stupid. Fan fiction, man. That's what it is.
Totally, like, sold that on a false premise.
Mm-hmm. I know Willem Dafoe was in Beyond Two Souls with... not Beyond Two Souls. Is it called Beyond Two Souls?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, yeah. With, what's that girl's name? Ellen Page?
Yeah.
I never played that. I watched Preston play that game. I never played it.
This is a lesser known guy, but I like the guy that's the therapist in Until Dawn a lot.
Yeah, he was good.
I don't know his name, but
yeah, he has.
Every time I see that guy in anything that I see him in, I like it.
He's always very much either a cameo or supporting character in whatever he's in.
Until Dawn's a great game.
It is a very good game. I enjoyed him in the beginning of John Wick Chapter 2.
Yeah, see, I haven't seen that yet. So.
Awesome movie, dude.
See, I miss out on so many movies because I don't have people to see movies with.
So. You have movies to see with me.
Well, you go with your gal.
I invite you quite often, though, and we usually go together.
The problem is I work late on a lot of Fridays now, so that's like the prime time to go see movies.
It is.
So
you and I still need to... I think we should see Apes together because we've seen the first two movies.
You calling me an ape?
I'm not calling you an ape. I mean, I can if you want me to.
I would
if
like
you're
to
into
see that with you.
thing.
Did it come out this last week?
I think 2 weeks ago.
Oh, it's been out.
Maybe it's been out. I think, 2 weeks. I mean, maybe I'm an idiot.
See, I'm really bummed that I didn't get to see Baby Driver, and you've already seen it. So
I would see that again. I love that movie.
That's what I want to see more than anything.
I would matinee that movie with you any day of the week.
That's tempting.
You let me know.
I don't
Jacob,
work on
go.
Wednesdays, so
I don't go to school on Wednesdays.
We might have to do that this
I think
Wednesday.
we found our day, man. I'd love to see it again. Buckarooski says, are there any games that made you almost or completely give up on the Platinum Trophy?
Battlefield 1. The trophy where you had to like kill a certain amount of planes with a Gatling gun on top of a blimp. That was the most frustrating trophy I've ever gotten.
Really?
I've mentioned it before in this seat right here, actually.
Yes.
I think we've talked about trophies that were insanely hard or something like that. But that's the only one that really comes to mind. Because most of my platinum trophies have been games that are not that hard to platinum, regrettably. But I'm not huge like on platinum trophies like Preston is. So I do them when I'm enjoying a game a lot and I want to have that achievement to show other people, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
What about you?
Is that the only one?
That I can think of, yeah.
Okay. There's been a few for me. One, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Adore that
You
game.
platinum that game?
I have every trophy but one. It's the multiplayer trophy. I know one of you in the comments at one point when I mentioned this previously said that the multiplayer trophy isn't that bad. So maybe one day, if I feel compelled to do so, I'll go back and get that final dang multiplayer trophy in Assassin's Creed, which I feel like shouldn't exist at all, but it's in there.
That'd be a cool game to go back and play.
Yeah, I got every single trophy except that one trophy, which sucks. But that kept me from platining that because I just did not feel like spending my time doing that.
I almost did. Well, I was on Xbox playing it, but I didn't want to do the legendary ships one. Because as much as I like sailing around on the ships, I didn't like the ship combat very much.
I love the ship combat. Now, the legendary
especially when
ships,
the ships were much better than you, it frustrated the hell out of me.
Dude, those legendary ships were purely designed to be unfair. And I'm not saying that because I sucked, because I beat all of them. But I told you, dude, this defies all physics and laws of nature when I was chasing down a legendary ship. I told you, I wish we were doing Let's Plays at this time, because it would have been the funniest video we've ever made. The ship was flying ahead of me. Literally, its nose lifted out of the ocean 90 degrees. It did a 180 and smashed back into the ocean and ran right towards me, or sailed right towards me. It hit me so hard head on that my entire ship went underwater, and I'm still holding onto the helm underneath the depths of the ocean.
Singing shanties.
Yeah, and back out of the ocean. I lost like half my ship's health in 2 seconds.
It's like the Flying Dutchman.
It was the funniest freaking thing I've ever seen. And the second funniest glitch I ever saw in that game was when Preston was, we've told the story, he was digging in a chest. And he turns around on the beach and just sees a sailboat flying like 300 miles an hour across the ocean. Just so funny.
Yeah.
But
why is it called the Flying Dutchman? It doesn't fly.
I think the Flying Dutchman, well, at least in SpongeBob, is like a flying entity, like a phantom. I think that's what it's meant to be. Because in a lot of ways, that ship is like a phantom among the sea.
That's the name of it in Pirates, right? The Flying Dutchman.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
how'd you feel about the new Pirates? Did you see it?
I did not.
It was good.
I think it was pretty bad.
It was okay. I liked it.
It's the reason why I say this is because those movies progressively got more and more CG heavy, whereas the first one was on like real beaches. I mean, there's still shots in the new ones that have real beach shots, but most of it was in the real ocean, real beaches and stuff. And it's so much green screen nowadays that it just turns me off completely.
Yeah, I really like the third one though. I like how grand the scale of the. It was like a pirate war. Yeah, it was awesome.
I enjoy the first trilogy. I mean, the first one will forever be my favorite.
Yeah, the first one's the best by far. But the second one's okay in my eyes. The third one's good, and I like the newest one. The fourth one was god awful.
It was so bad. Yeah, on Stranger Tides. Not a fan.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? Oh yeah, trophies. Yeah, Black Flag. I didn't do that one. Dark Souls I gave up on because it was so tedious. It would have taken me so much time. I loved that game. All I really wanted to get out of it, I wanted to come out of it saying I beat, with the exception of the DLC bosses now, I beat all of the main bosses in the game. That was good enough for me.
Was the question, was there a trophy that kept us from platinuming?
Yeah, was there a game that kept us from Any games that almost or made us
almost okay.
Yeah, almost or completely gave up on the platinum.
Well, one that made me give up was hearing about Preston doing all the Chalice dungeons in Bloodborne, because I initially wanted to platinum that, but after his stories about how long it took him to beat some of those bosses, I didn't want to put the effort into it, so I just gave up on that.
I'm sure there's a handful more that I started to pursue and gave up on because I rarely check trophy lists until I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to go for the platinum in this, and then I'll check and be like, nope, just kidding. But there's probably been a few more, but the two big ones for me are Black Flag and Dark Souls 3.
Right. After you looked at that list, you decided it wasn't best to do that anymore.
Yeah, because I looked at the
list. Did that game come out last year?
Yes. I knew what I needed to do to get it. It was just so much and so many weird, tedious trophies, things you had to do in order to get certain trophies that I just didn't have the time for it, unfortunately. I had a whole checklist. Like Preston makes those Google spreadsheets. That's basically what I had for Dark Souls, and I just couldn't do it. So I commend all of you who did so, and Dark Souls 3 is a tough one. I hear Bloodborne's even harder.
I don't know.
Preston said it was horrendously difficult. Sam Harris says, Konnichiwa, Garrett-san, Jacob-san, and Preston-san.
Who?
I think that's...
Who's Preston-san?
I think that's some sort of German dialect. Konnichiwa? Or is it Spanish?
That's definitely not German. That is Asian.
I know, Jacob. I'm just kidding.
Okay, I didn't know if you were joking or not.
Yeah. I got to be careful with my jokes because 99% of people I know think I'm serious. Every word I say is serious that comes out of my mouth.
Yeah, it's like I always know you're being sarcastic, but it might not come off that way.
Like I've said, for example, I felt bad in my art class the other day because you have to do critiques for all your projects, and we all had to throw up our paintings that we've done for this project on the wall, and the class had to collectively critique each person's project.
That's fun.
My teacher asked, who wants to go first? And I wasn't afraid to go first. I'm like, all right, I'll go first. So on my way up to the board, I'm like, no, I don't. Mine clearly looks, the joke is mine looks so bad that clearly I'm joking when I say this. I'm like, all right, I don't want anyone to be intimidated, but clearly mine's the best one in the class. As I'm hanging it up, and I turn around and everyone just has blank expressions on their face. Like, who does this asshole think he is? Thinking I'm like the best artist in the class. But it looks like total garbage. I don't think anyone got the joke.
That's totally something you would say.
Right.
Just to lighten the mood.
Right. I don't think anyone realized I was joking. So as everyone was presenting, I went out of my way to really encourage everyone because I didn't want them to think I'm some asshole that thinks he's better than everyone else when clearly I'm the worst in the class. But it's little things like that. People think I'm serious, and I don't want it to come off as some kind of douchebag.
Okay.
But I'm not stupid. I know that's Asian. Or maybe I am stupid. I'm just pretending like I'm joking.
It might not be Asian. I don't know.
It's Japanese, I think. It says, I wanted to know, do you think brick and mortar retailers for video games and other multimedia content will eventually be obsolete? It seems like everyone is buying and ordering everything online along with buying digital media. What do you think the economy will be like, all online and mostly digital? Or when? 10 years, 20 years, or on the flip side, never? Love to hear what you got to say. And then he says sayonara. Now, I think that is Italian, sayonara. But additionally, before we answer this question, Buckarooski J says, let me catch my breath. Goodness, Jacob. Need a oxygen tank or something. We've been talking so much on this podcast. I'm out of breath. Hi, mates. What do you guys think the future holds in store for this ever-advancing digital age? 2017 marks the year I stopped buying physical games and went 100% digital. What with games needing patches day one, the phasing out of manuals, and console hardware space being 500 gigs minimum, going digital just seemed just obvious. Additionally, it saves a ton of space and it will last more or less forever, whereas a cartridge or disc will sooner or later die out if made out of low-quality materials or mishandled. Which do you guys prefer? Do you think the industry might one day phase out physical games altogether? So between those two gentlemen, Jacob, I think we've answered this in the past.
Yeah, we've talked about this so much.
We have. We'll say this is the crowning jewel of this conversation until something drastic happens in this realm of video games, but I am caught in between both worlds right now. I buy both physical and digital depending on the situation. For example, No Man's Sky was sold out day one. I underestimated the sales of that game, bought it digitally. Was that a mistake? Probably. You did the same thing, didn't you?
Preach it. Yeah, I did the same thing.
I
played it a lot less than you did too.
Yeah. Batman Telltale series I bought digitally because I don't really care about owning the physical version, and I just pre-ordered all of it at once. I think the
physical version was delayed till they were all released too.
Yeah, it came out like a month later or something like that. So, I just bought that digitally. I know I buy all of those PSN sales. Of course, I get all those digitally because you have no other choice.
I mean, you don't need to prove to me that you buy games digitally.
No, I'm just saying, for example, I buy a lot digitally, but I also buy a lot of physical games. Whenever I can get my hands on a physical copy of a game, I more often than not will purchase
that's still what you prefer?
copy. For now, yeah. Mostly because I'm in a situation for at least the next year and a half where I'm going to need that extra income to purchase all these new games. Like the fall, I'm screwed, man. I know last year I was like, I have no idea how I'm going to afford this, but I had a job that had consistent income. I no longer have that, so I have no idea how I'm going to play all these year's games, or this year's games. But I mean, if I can buy a physical version, I'm going to buy it, mostly because I can trade it back in for something else later.
There you go.
But I'm not opposed to digital whatsoever. But I think we'll no doubt... this is the thing. Think about this. Music is predominantly downloaded digitally these days, but there are still people that go to record stores and buy old records or old CDs just because they still exist. And CDs have lasted this long, and people rarely ever buy them. They're literally pointless to buy these days unless it's like a collectible item. I think
that's why I buy CDs. It's for like Linkin Park, which I don't want to talk about that.
Right.
But I've bought all their CDs physically.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't bought the newest one, but I'm going to soon. And I have them displayed on my wall, framed.
Exactly. People still do that. I think games will always have, even if it's niche, an audience like that, or at least for years and years to come. Mm-hmm. I think even if it's a tiny little store, even if it's not called GameStop, like an old game store where they have physical copies of PS4 games and Xbox games and everything, I think that will always be there. Maybe not always, but at least for a significant amount of time. But digital, I think, will predominantly take over, just how it has with music, where most people download digitally. Unless you're in Andy's situation, Zach's brother, speaking of the middle of nowhere on our weekend getaway, they have the weakest internet connection I think I've ever seen in my life. It literally takes him, this is just one of many examples, to install and download the updates for Wolfenstein. It took him 4.5 days. He just sticks it in and just lets it go for days until it finishes. That's great. Then he can play a game. That is insane to think in the year 2017 he has to wait that long to install a game.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
There's still areas that are that isolated.
That's insane. I would lose my mind out there. Oh, yeah. Beautiful home on the lake. It's a great place.
You gotta focus on other things besides technology.
Yeah, I have to have that internet connection, man. Mostly because of what I do for a living, but still.
I get that. Me personally, in regards to this question, I'm getting to the point where I'm caring a lot less about physical media, unless it's something I really, really like and I want other people to see that I like this because I have this thing that displays, though I have this thing.
You gonna get the collector's edition of Destiny 2?
No.
You're not?
I think it's already sold out.
Oh, is
it? But it was just like a satchel. It's not that cool.
A satchel?
Yeah. It's Hawthorne's bag.
That's stupid.
Yeah. It's not cool like the first one where it was a ghost.
Yeah.
If it would have been something like that, I would have gotten it. But I got the season pass version, I think, which is the first 2 expansions. And I think there's some other little small digital stuff for your character and stuff. But especially since I am planning on getting my PC this week, like most PC games are either bought through Steam or, they're online. Like you don't buy physical PC games. Although I do always buy the World of Warcraft boxes because they look so cool. Have you ever seen them before?
I have, yeah.
I have them all displayed on a shelf.
I've noticed.
They look really awesome.
They look very cool.
That's the only thing I buy physical for PC. But I think over this next year or so, I'm going to start buying a lot less things digital or physically. I don't know. Because I really don't care, honestly. Like, at least I'm playing the game. That's what's important, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't typically give my games back to GameStop anyway. So, because if I buy it, I want it to be mine. Because you never know when you're going to go back and play something.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Yeah, between the both of you, Sam Harris and Buckarooski J, I think physical is going to last for a while.
I don't see why...
It just won't be the predominant form of consumption, I don't think.
I don't see why people feel like they need to have all these physical games. Because like he's saying, like things do degrade over time.
I think people just love their collection. For example, people have massive DVD
How many people do you show your video game collection to? Like,
I think it's a personal thing. Like Preston, for example, doesn't really show off his collection, but it is a cool collection he has.
Yeah, I guess.
So my collection's
I'd be more interested in like statues and stuff. I feel like that's a cooler collection than just game discs.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it can look cool if you have them in alphabetical order and stuff.
And there's also an argument. I've said this point too. There's an argument worth having where you have a very neat and clean TV like room setup where you don't have like all this clutter of discs over to the side. It's just like you got a sleek like black stand, black TV. Like you know what I'm talking about. It's just a neat setup.
Mm-hmm. I still think
people don't like all that clutter sometimes.
Making some sort of trophy and or game room digitally inside the dashboard of PlayStation and Xbox would be so cool. Just like a room you can literally like in first person walk around and see your collection of games. It's just weird and different.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Like you go up to a wall and you just see all the covers of each game. You can just click on which game you want to play.
That'd be cool.
I mean, it'd be kind of pointless, but I think that'd be interesting. It kind of blends.
That's like how you play your games. You go pick one off a shelf.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Just like it blends the physical and digital world. I think it'd just be kind of fun.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal though. This issue.
No, I don't even know if it's an issue. It is a solid question though, because I mean, it really is getting to a point where it's almost split 50-50 between physical and digital.
Mm-hmm. There's also something worth saying: the convenience of digital.
Oh, it's incredibly convenient.
Which we've made the point before, but you just think about all the time you could save, like just all the trips back to GameStop and
you can once you pre-order a game digitally, you can already preload it, so that on launch day you're just ready to go.
Yeah,
it's awesome. It's another huge benefit. Point. So yeah, but Sam and Buckarooski J, we appreciate those questions. They work well together. Jacob, we talked about a lot of movies on this episode. Harley says, "Hey guys, recently I have watched The Dark Knight nonstop. It has to be my all-time favorite Batman movie, and I've come to notice that I can quote almost the entire movie."
That is the best Batman movie.
I would say so, yeah. My question is there a movie that you have seen so many times that you can quote most of it?
What about you?
There are many movies like that. I can quote a lot of The Dark Knight as well, Harley. You know what drives me insane? I bet this is the same for you. That meme with the Joker and Two-Face where he says, in the movie he says something like, look what I did with some barrels of gas and a couple of bullets or whatever. He says, if I say I'm going to blow up a school bus, nobody panics. Or if I say I'm going to shoot one little old man, everyone loses their minds. Well, the meme will very rarely have the correct lines, but someone out there in the world changed it to whatever it says. Let's say I do this, this, and this. Nobody panics. When instead of saying the next part, everyone loses their minds, it says, no one bats an eye. Like, that's not what he says in the movie, and it drives me insane when I see that. But I can quote a lot of The Dark Knight. It's always little subtle movies I can quote little things from. Like from Star Wars, all the time I say that was too close. It's from Return of the Jedi with Lando Calrissian and that dude he's flying the Millennium Falcon with. And they're flying through the Death Star and they nick that part of it. And I think he's supposed to say too close, but it sounds like he's saying too close. And I always thought that was so funny. So I say too close all the time. But Batman and Robin with Mr. Freeze, I can quote that from start to finish practically. And quote a lot of Batman Forever. That's because when I was a kid, I watched those on repeat over and over and over again. Same thing with the Dark Knight trilogy. I've seen those so many times. I can quote a lot of Spider-Man 1 and 2. I can quote nearly everything from the Star Wars prequels. Many movies. What about you, Jacob?
The two franchises in particular that I always quote are Harry Potter.
Yeah, Harry Potter is one of them for me too.
And Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
A little less so on Lord of the Rings, but Harry Potter is what I quote like every day of my life.
Yeah.
Just in some way. Even last night, me and a buddy were joking about when Voldemort says, just give me the stone.
Yeah.
In the first movie.
On the back of Quirrell's head.
Yeah. Yeah, I literally quote that so many times. Even like me and you, we always talk about Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm. Right you are, Harry.
Yeah. Let's see. I've watched like the old Disney movies like Lion King, Cinderella, all those. Like I've seen those more than a normal person should. So I can almost quote a lot of those old Disney movies front to back.
Mm-hmm. How about here's something fun to do real quick. What is your favorite quote from any of the Harry Potter movies? What's the first one that really comes to mind? I mean, there's so many, but what's one that really stands out to you?
Oh my God, dude. I don't know. There's so many.
There is, man. Holy crap. It's so hard to choose. So many quotes swirling around
I was
in my
like
head.
saying, leave him alone when Jenny says that in the second one in the bookshop.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Leave
talking to Draco.
Mm-hmm.
Or is she talking to Lucius?
I think she's talking to Lucius, yeah. And then Malfoy comes in. Like, look, Potter, you got yourself a girlfriend. Or not Draco, yeah. Man, there's so many good Harry Potter quotes.
Now, Draco.
Yeah. Don't boast, Draco.
See you at school.
Yeah. See you at school. I always love in Chamber of Secrets when they're like, all right, we're going to use flu powder. And Harry F's it up. He's like, diagonally. And he goes through
diagonally.
Did he say diagonally?
Diagonally.
Yeah, that's a good one. What about Star Wars? What about the prequels?
Anakin's quotes.
Yeah, Phantom Menace, anything Anakin says, like, it's working! It's working! But the pod racer, Zach was screaming that when we were tubing, which is hilarious. I love when the sandstorm's rolling in, and the old lady's like, a sandstorm's coming in, Annie, better get home quick. And he's like, sandstorms are very, very dangerous. And he takes them to his home. So many good ones. Of course, not Phantom Menace, Revenge of the Sith is like my favorite Star Wars movie to quote. Like when Obi-Wan drops down.
Say it's your favorite Star Wars movie.
No. But when Obi-Wan drops down ready to fight Grievous, hello there. That's classic. Yeah. And I had the high ground. Don't try it.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. Kenobi.
No, it's General Kenobi.
Yeah. Man,
that's my favorite prequel movie. Probably is Revenge of the Sith.
I love when Grievous snatches their lightsabers out of that droid's hand. He's like, "You're welcome." That was hilarious. That whole movie's very quotable. Mm-hmm. So love those movies. Yeah, I can quote most of them. So that's a great question, Harley.
Yes, thank you.
Perhaps someday we can quote Dark Knight together.
We'll have a live watch party.
Yeah. Next time we play Overwatch, we're on mics. We'll just quote the whole movie together. Lumberback Jer says, Lumberback Jer. Bear. I'm losing it, Jacob. I have one question for y'all. I have played and enjoyed video games ever since I was little, but for the past month or so, I've been just so bored with video games. I took a break from them because I got really busy with school, work, and my girlfriend, so I thought I would jump back into games since I haven't played them in so long. It was fine for about a week, but now I just get bored with everything I play. Do y'all have any suggestions when people go through a gaming slump?
Don't play games. If you don't want to play games, don't play games.
What if you want to play games, but they're not satisfying?
Well, you have to find the game that you want to play.
Right.
There's tons of games out there that all are very different. You got to find what's interesting to you at the moment.
Lumberback Jared, it's weird because I adore games so much that everything you've listed, just being busy with work, school, and your girlfriend, I experience the exact same thing on a daily basis, but I still love video games to the point where I have to play them daily when I have time. Even if it's for a work purpose, I have to play a video game. I've never been through a gaming slump, I'm going to be honest. I love them so much that I always have something to play. Now, I've definitely had those times where I'm like, oh, there's nothing to play, but I'll still find something that slightly entertains me, where most of the time back in the day on 360, if there was a period of time where there were several months between games coming out, I would just go to Red Dead Redemption and just shoot everything in my path for an hour, and that would be my gaming fill for the day. So little things like that. My favorite thing to do when I'm super bored is play a open world sandbox game like Fallout or GTA, where you can do anything you want, and that's where you kind of get creative with how you're having fun. Like Fallout, one of my favorite things to do in Fallout 4 is building my fortress. I told you I built my fortress to the point where my game dropped frames after a while. Like every time I go to my home base in Fallout 4, I'm running at like 24 frames a second because it's so slow. It looks cool, but that was my favorite thing to do. Whenever I got bored, I would go back to Fallout 4 and do that.
Yeah, I like playing shooters when I'm bored. They keep me entertained.
That's always a default for me as well.
Because you can always make progress in a multiplayer shooter.
Yeah, it really is, man. It just depends.
And it's just fun when you do well.
It just depends on what you're playing, I guess. I hate that I can't relate to that, but...
What? Oh,
I can't think of anything. I've really gone through a slump before.
I'm kind of in a slump right now, I think, because I don't really want to play anything besides Zelda, but I also don't really want to play Zelda right now. I often find myself just like watching YouTube videos or watching shows on Netflix instead of when I would be playing a game normally. So.
Yeah, I know Zach.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No. I know Zach has been through many gaming slumps, for sure. I mean, there's been times where he just doesn't play at all. But right now, recently, he's been playing, surprisingly, a lot of Rainbow Six Siege, Wolfenstein the Old Blood, and Raven the Redwoods from Infinite Warfare's Zombies. So, but there are times where he'll either just purely play FIFA or he won't play anything at all. Yeah. So I know he can relate, because I wish Zach could be here every week, because Zach always has something to add to the conversation. This would be perfect for Zach to give his 2 cents on, because Zach's been through that. But I myself have not been through a slump, but if I had any suggestion to give, it would just to be somehow, some way find that game that entertains you, if it even exists at all.
Go on Twitch or something. There's a lot of people play a lot of video games on there. Just look at the game section, see where the most views are. Just look for a game that interests you. Watch someone play it. See if you like it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all about what you want to play, right? I
guess that's the best advice we can give.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, but Jacob, while I kind of outro us, you want to pull up them iTunes reviews?
Okay.
That'd be That'd be grad, man. That'd be rad. I was gonna say great or rad.
Okay.
Combine the two words. It's grad. Ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for episode 111 of the It's Obvious podcast. Jake and I are practically falling asleep. I'm so exhausted, but I'm glad we made it through this episode. There's a lot of little fun things to talk about, predominantly Destiny. We look forward to hearing from all you guys in the comments regarding anything we've discussed, whether it be Comic-Con, Destiny, any of the community questions. Please share your thoughts down below. We love hearing from you guys, especially if you're on Spotify or iTunes. Again, speaking of which, if you're willing to take a couple of minutes out of your day to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review on iTunes, it does wonders for us. And again, we will return the favor if you guys submit your iTunes links to the community content section of Discord. And we'd love to do that for you guys as well. So thank you so much for all of you that have done so and tuning in this week. It's always a blast connecting with you. Each and every week we look excited. We're excited about playing games with you all this week. I'm going to be on... I will be back on Halo a bit. I know some of you on Xbox, one of you messaged me about Halo. I am going to play a little more Halo this week. What else is out that we have right now?
Not much.
Maybe some Overwatch.
We're about to be through with the slow season.
We are, yeah. It's going to be picking up very soon. We're going to play some Overwatch and Doomfist launches on the 27th, of course.
Of course.
This week, Halo for me. I think I'm going to stream some Siege one night this week. And
I'm going to be playing Zelda this week if I play anything, I guess.
What do I have? Oh, yeah, I'm going to play the new Doom update, too. If anyone wants to play Doom, let's totally do that, because I want to start in the new update. I think that'll be cool. But who knows? It may be a big surprise. We'd love to play some games with you guys. So connect with us on Discord, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever your preferred platform is. Look forward to talking to you guys. It's been great.
Mm-hmm.
But Jacob, thank you so much for sacrificing 2 hours of your day to come talk to me about stuff.
I've spent the whole weekend with you. It wouldn't feel right to leave now, right?
Yeah, this is the cherry on top. We barely made it through. I can't even put together a sentence, it seems, but it's been fun.
Yeah,
as always. But ladies and gentlemen, we hope you have a very blessed and productive week, and whatever it is you're doing. What was that?
It was my stomach.
Okay.
I'm hungry.
I thought it was a toad. Is there a toad in this room? But yeah, we appreciate all of you guys, and it's always a blast connecting with you, and we hope you have a great week.
Garrett, I'll see you and our listeners next week.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. See you.